Donald Trump needs to be arrested. Donald Trump is a KKK Grand Dragon. Because I agree with MSNBC and CNN. When they call somebody a racist, like they've done me, and don't show a clip of me saying anything racist, that's reasonable. Like, call somebody a racist. Bully them when you work for a big corporation. Support wars. Support the overthrow of Libya and Syria. And that's liberal. And just everybody got really scared when Kanye West showed some courage. I mean some cowardice out of all the mainstream media. Because, you know, even Taylor Swift got criticized. She's one of the top people out there for not being political. I say prison for her, you know. But Kanye, he came out kind of joking around and said, you know, I support free speech. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I don't care if you support Hillary or Trump. I support you. You're Americans. You have freedom. Damn, that's un-American. Damn that. That Kanye West is a bad person. That's the one they locked up a year ago in a mental institution. And the news said because he supported Trump. I think it's great. A van comes, they lock you up, take you for 2 weeks to a facility, inject you with drugs because you support a president. Damn right. I think if Kanye West doesn't support Hillary, our real president, that it might be lifetime in prison or maybe make him walk the plank. I don't wish any harm upon him, but the left says hashtag hunt Republicans, shoot congressmen's police. You know, the point is that you may let Kanye live, okay? He's been being a little bit more reasonable. And he's come out and he said, F Trump, arrest Trump. So maybe we'll let him escape. It's not authoritarian when I say that. It's liberal. So let's play a report by Paul Joseph Watson, another enemy, another extreme reason Kanye. Kanye was just joking around a few days ago. But thank God Kanye's come around. He's the First Amendment. God, that's American. Kanye, thank God you say you hate Trump. You hate China has a $900 million deficit against us. We put a $50 billion on them. You know, $850 billion of them screwing us into enough. Screw Trump. God, agree, man. F that crackerhead. So, Kanye. For me and the Democratic Party and the grand wizards like Robert Byrd and Hillary that said black people got to be brought to heel like dogs. I don't agree with that type of way to stop it. It's Democrats, so it's okay. I just want to say, man, Kanye, man, I got scared. You're one of the top icons out there when you were being pro-free speech. That's not American. Kanye. Man. Thank God. You're calling for Trump to be arrested. You're calling for Trump to be removed. And I want to be like Venezuela. I want to be like China. Kanye, thank you so much. You're not a big hero right now. There won't be any of your champagne sold in stores like Venezuela, but it doesn't matter. You know, I just want to say, like, thank God you're calling for Trump to be brought down. So let's go to this report by Paul Joseph Watson that tells all this. There's Kanye. How dare Kanye, as an American, meet with an elected president? Damn. But Kanye got life. He learned. He doesn't have freedom. I mean, he doesn't have freedom of racism. I mean, he's bad. Kanye's good now, though. He needs to shut his ass up. Good. I mean, well, he was for Trump. I mean, he needs to speak up against Trump. Good job, Kanye. So here's that report.
In a watershed moment for the culture war, Kanye West praised conservative commentator Candace Owens in a tweet, saying, I love the way Candace Owens thinks. If you see something that's great, you got to respect it. And how did Twitter react? By failing to even spell Owens' name properly and calling her far-right. They're going to call a former left-wing, now centre-right black conservative who is hated by the actual far-right, then all bets are now off. And then the usual blue check mark piles in with their lies and hatred.
Candace Owens is a far-right media personality who got famous.
Back it up. Shut up, crackerhead, Watson. That Candace Owens trying to get free market for black people's a racist. Shut up, crackerhead. You better listen to Kanye. Go ahead.
off, and then the usual blue check marks piled in with their lies and hatred.
Candace Owens is a far-right media personality who got famous by appearing on the conspiracy-type info wars and calling herself a red pill black, as her popularised on the alt-right Bendrihem message board that is basically an antonym for well.
Wrong, idiot. She got famous by communicating a message of actual empowerment for black people. So say that.
Exactly. You can't give her credit for being good-looking and eloquent and everything. You got to patronize a black lady and say she got it because she went on that crackerhead show, InfoWars. There you go. I agree with. Oh my God, she's so bad. Shut her up. And you got Mr. West. Oh, I've been joking about the name so long. How do you say it? Cayenne West. Kanye West. I'm not being sarcastic. This was the Kardashians. I didn't give a damn. I'm not kissing his ass now because he's a big celebrity. I'm glad he's speaking out. Now he's really in the world. Let's go back to Kanye West kicking their ass. There you go.
Wide-splaining, please. Talking of wide-splaining, Sean King wine the Kanye of being an Uncle Tom. When you're white to the Rachel Dolezal. So for a second.
Back it up again. What the hell is up with weird-ass white people acting like they're black people? And then the black people go, oh, we accept you. What the hell? Like, I don't think of myself as a white guy. I think of myself as my positions in life. But it doesn't matter. God, this is so stupid.
How are you going to accuse Kanye of being an Uncle Tom when you're white to the Rachel Dolezal? So precisely how does Candace Owens think? Well, she tells black people not to be victims, not to be dependent on welfare, and not to blame society for all their problems.
The truth is that the left wants to strap black people to this idea that they are victims. That's what it comes down to. They do not want black people focused on the futures. They want black people focused on the past. They want black people to be government dependent. They don't like to see black people that have free thinkers and are independent.
Back it up again. We'll do that again. Because if you just get involved in being an individual, statistically, you're like 10 times or more successful. But see, I'm that cracker ass doesn't want blacks to report after kids. See how the cracker ass works? Listen to that. That's the truth. Go back to it.
The truth is that the left wants to strap black people to this idea that they are victims. That's what it comes down to. They do not want black people focused on the futures. They want black people focused on the past. They want black people to be government dependent. They don't like to see black people that are free thinkers and are independent. I think that's what Kanye West and myself represents the black community, and that makes them very nervous.
And that correlates exactly with Kanye's new outlook. Remember, Kanye met with Trump to talk about tackling black-on-black violence in Chicago, something that the left Black Lives Matter supporters refused to incorporate into their message.
Pause again. Back it up. Exactly. Kanye actually tried to do something instead of just virtue signaling or having the new Purge movie where KKK is coming to kill folks in Chicago. No, it's black people under Democrat control of the drug chip in they're doing.
With Trump to talk about tackling black-on-black violence in Chicago, something that the left and Black Lives Matter supporters refuse to incorporate into their message because it doesn't fit their race-baiting victimhood narrative. Kanye has also exposed how the left fans the flames of hysteria over racism to metaphorically keep black people on the plantation, to keep them docile and easily controlled.
Racism is a dated concept. It's not an actual thing that even means anything. You know, it's something that was used to hold people back in the past, but now there's been so many leaps and breaking of the rules that it's like, it's played out like, you know, like a style from the, 1800s or something. You know, the real true freedom isn't in the words. The true freedom is in the opportunity.
Kanye West represents a massive threat to the left because he has an army of adoring fans, and he's clearly done with being a puppet for their divisive agenda. After this, he's going to be relentlessly attacked by the establishment like never before. Get ready. The mainstream entertainment industry is so stale, so controlled, so adversarial to originality, it can no longer produce any icons with actual authenticity. Kanye himself has alluded to this on several occasions.
We shall give God to you. They can't play what they want to play because they've been paid to play that bullshit over and over and over.
Celebrities with something to say other than vacuous virtue signaling and cliche platitudes are now all but extinct. And that's because any celebrity that uses their platform to speak uncomfortable truths is immediately shunned and attacked by the legacy media. Look what they did to Morrison after he spoke out against mass immigration and Islamic terrorism. This paucity of authentic, interesting celebrities is why YouTubers like PewDiePie and Candace Owens are the new rock stars.
We are rock stars.
So obviously most of these new rock stars aren't going to be.
It's Monday night. I'm here at 8:05 Central with emergency transmission. Now, if you look at population numbers, the world has about 9% Caucasians and about 9–10% blacks. We all come from the same genetics. We're all humans. And all the rest of the world, 8%, aren't white or black. But why does the media obsess on that? There's some bigger mystery to this. I don't feel like I'm getting ahead when a black person's behind. But I also don't feel ahead when a white person is put behind because of what color they are. When they're from Eastern Europe, there's no way their family has any connection to slavery 200 years ago. Now that said, one of my researchers, John Gonzalez, today called me into his office. He said, listen, you got to cover the first Purge. It's a prequel for the successful Purge series. I've never seen any of the Purge movies. I read analysis of them. I know the basics of them. I'm just focused on the real world, but I know the basics. So I went and I watched the trailer. And I said, well, let me go read the spoilers. It's about to come out in a few weeks. I looked at the spoilers and read it's shown in Europe. The whole movie. I spent about 30 minutes reading word for word. Spoilers online or whatever. You gotta understand something. I don't sit here and say this is an evil movie from some white person perspective. All this together. You got 50-something nuclear plants, 90+%, even CBS News and Mr. Lincoln. We're all getting ready. Why does our elite not care? We're all eating GMO food. We're all getting 5G radiation, and mainline studies has given us all cancer. I don't want to sit here and fight with you. You got brown skin or pink skin or brown skin or black skin or whatever. I don't have to sit there and virtue signal either. That's mental illness. I don't give a damn what color you are, as long as you stand up for justice and freedom and free speech like Kanye West is doing. Somebody used to criticize all the Kardashian globalist crap. Now, who I admire, there's a maverick spirit in free speech. I look at what color he is. I look at what he stands for. But that said, I watched the 3-minute trailer we're about to show you here to analyze and break down. And you see it right away. Army trucks pull up with guys in KKK outfits. They don't say they're KKK outfits. They're in white uniforms with white little hats. And they start shooting and killing black people. And the government has decided to pass a law that 1 day a year you can murder or kill whoever you want and get out of your system. But they're saying this is the first Purge, this is the prequel. And you watch it, there's not big armies of white people out killing black people. The statistics don't show that. The statistics show in Chicago and Detroit and Baltimore and DC and Miami and Los Angeles and other areas, Dallas where I grew up, that 95%, this is FBI crime statistics. I don't trust the FBI, but they're famous for statistics with Uber. They're dead on, local numbers. 95% on average are black on black. Now, I want that to stop. But they're all in cities that have taken the guns. So you're watching this movie based in Chicago, kind of the opposite of the remake of Death Wish that come out with Bruce Willis, where it's white guys and black guys and Hispanic guys standing up to white guys, black guys, Hispanic guys, and the criminals, and kicking their asses and standing up against them. But saw the film was great. Got no pushing, went nowhere. My buddy Mancow's in it. It was about good guys against bad guys. There's good guys that are white. There's good guys that are black. There's bad guys that are black. There's bad guys that are white. I mean, this is third grade level stuff, right? Second grade, first grade. But if you're the short bus, God bless you, it's fifth grade. But we should all be able to know this stuff. And so Chicago has the highest crime rate in the world for a city. Mexico has the highest crime rate in the world for a country. And until last year, now it's been surpassed by Brazil. They've got a presidential candidate in the lead who wants to have a Second Amendment there, which is great. So the new Purge film has taken a massive dig at Trump, says the Hollywood Reporter and all these other publications. A massive dig at Trump in the film portraying army trucks pulling up in Chicago, mowing down black men, women, and children, when in reality, 2,000 plus people get shot a year. Look it up in Chicago. And about 1,100 or so, on average, last decade, has been higher, died. And 95% is black on black. And it's not bashing black people, it's with the position they've been put in, the culture, what the media's pushed, everything's happened. But I think back to 4 or 5 years ago, it came out, put out by Robert Rodriguez, funded by Obama. And I went and saw the movie, and it's got Don Johnson with a cowboy hat in the back of a Jeep. He sees a Hispanic lady, pregnant, and he shoots her in the stomach with a 30-06. Now, there's no real cases of that have been documented. It probably has happened a couple times. I mean, I'm not going to say it's probably never happened. I'm sure it's not on the board. It's never been confirmed. Look it up. The coyotes, the smugglers, they have found over 100,000 dead people just in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. That's not counting the 100,000 plus that died in the drug war the last decade. We're talking 200,000. That's mainline news. 200,000 dead people. And then Robert Rodriguez claims he cares about La Raza and the race. I care about the race, period. Humanity. And he puts out his whole network and gets globalist funding to create race baiting and racial division to divide America so that Americans don't come together for free market and prosperity and the Second Amendment, 57 Chevys and everything and prosperity. And then Rodriguez puts out a movie where Don Johnson shoots the nice Hispanic lady in the stomach, blows the baby out of her guts. But America's so bad, all the Hispanics are trying to get up there. All the Muslims are trying to get there, everybody else. So you've got 100,000 graves, mainline news, I've had professors on to talk about it, found on the border with Mexico and the U.S. That's what they found. You got another 100,000 killed the last decade, conservatively. Not a Hollywood movie, not a word, because they're there to distract from the narco-terrorism and what's really going on. So, I get lost in the information. I get lost in the weeds, I'll admit it. How did I even start this live broadcast project? Purge. So, you've got a movie that Hollywood puts out. You've got Get Out. And I went and saw it, and weirdo white people are all Nazis. They want to put white people's brains in black people's brains. They worship black people. And like every other movie, it's like all this racism, race war. That's Hollywood. That's the globalists. That's the communist Chinese that fund all this stuff. And then they're just pushing this. And then all these movies about race war and all this other stuff is coming out. It's truly sick. And see, the average person thinks, oh, as a white person, you don't have to get attacked because of who you are. Blacks are getting this power now. Blacks aren't getting power. They're teaching blacks to have chips on their shoulders, to be victims, to be primed for prison like MTV and gangster rap and Sumner Redstone. And so they've got the new Purge coming out with guys in KKK outfits. I'm going to show this to you. Killing a bunch of black people in Chicago when it's the Democrats shipping in the drugs, running it all. doing all that have created this nightmare scenario to ship the drugs in and make money off all the death. That's their admitted KKK plan. And the Democrats then produce a film claiming people that want to stop all this are the KKK. That is flipping the script. See it for yourself. Here's the trailer. Let's analyze it. We're going to roll this baby for you and analyze it right now live. Rob, do crank that audio up. Go ahead.
We are here with Dr. May Updale. She came over.
Oh, wait, pause. Pause. Back it up. Start over. Oh, we got Van Jones, the big Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, globalists, telling black Americans you can't have the apple pie, you can't have free market, you can't have it. It's Van Jones on CNB News. It's Van Jones, the Hollywood, the establishment, the true Uncle Tom, telling you that, you know what, don't stop killing each other. It's the white man. The KKK is coming to kill you. Unbelievable. Anybody else that stands up for blacks being wealthy, like Kanye West, being successful, that's what I want. Like I said, it's not patronizing. It's not virtue signaling. I love Jimi Hendrix. His music's great. Until they closed the place. They used to have a place in East Austin, had the best damn soul food around, just Southern cooking. I didn't give a damn who was running it. I wanted good food. I wanted real fried okra. I wanted real collard greens. I wanted real ham hocks. I wanted real chicken fried steak. It's gone. But the point is, Van Jones works for the man. Van Jones works for the establishment. I'm sick of this crap. Roll it.
Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
Tonight allows people to release from all the hatred and violence that they keep up inside them.
This won't bring him back. It won't make you feel back. Thank you. It is a night that is dividing our country.
Citizens, this will be a tradition we celebrate every year. Join the first purge.
It's 7:26 Central Standard Time here on Monday night, April 21st, 2018. We have seen at least 10 people killed in a 1 p.m. Eastern truck attack in Toronto, Canada. Beautiful city, great country. Our hearts go out to those that died and the dozens that are also fighting for their lives. I've got articles here out of the CBC, you name it, where witnesses saw this individual run over a woman with her baby carriage and run over the baby intentionally, reportedly. So this was intentional all the way down the street in front of a church. Now,
all right, that's it. It's happening. We're ripping out the studio. So this is going to be interesting. This was an interesting space that we were in for quite a few years. You know, in case you've been with us for a while, this is where we started with a TV show. You know, we started with Red Ice TV. We kind of rebranded a little bit, walked away from just doing podcasts and stuff like that. And so this has been a good space for us, but it's frankly, it's way too cramped, you know? So we have, what do we have? We have like a little bit more than a week to go. So it's really urgent that we start taking everything apart, ripping everything apart. And believe me, there's a lot of things to take apart. It might not look at much, but all the cameras, all the cables, all the electronics, all the lights and everything, it's tons of stuff, you know? So everything needs to go, everything needs to be pulled apart, and then we're gonna, of course, reassemble everything once we get to the new space. And if there is, I mentioned this a couple of times, both in Wicked Warrior and at the end of a couple of shows, but if there's anyone out there that want to help us and donate to the new space that we're going to, we definitely welcome that. We want to do some new fancier decor. It's going to be a kind of a bigger dedicated space. Not super huge. We're looking at expanding that space eventually, but it's a good size. It's good for what we are going to need initially. A couple of different sets, maybe in there. So have a dedicated green screen space. So it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. So if there's anyone who want to help out with that, we might want to do like a video wall or something. I'm not quite sure yet how to exactly how we're going to kind of mix and blend our our old world style on the set, which I know many other people like. We love it too. It's
I have
great.
some ideas.
You have some ideas, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna mix and so we bring in some tech in the background, something a little more updated, but at the same time keep the older style to it. So yeah, so this has been a good space. It's been great having you all with us. Thank you guys for watching and for listening. And we kind of just want to give you guys an update on what's going on, and of course bring you with us as we set things up in the new space and stuff like that. So you guys feel what's going on and know what's going on right there, because we have maybe what do you think, Lana? Maybe like probably a little bit more than 4 weeks, I'd say, which we're going to be kind of in limbo because we can't get into the new space until that time. So we'll just do like more green screen videos and stuff like that in the meantime as much as we can. But as we're packing everything up and stuff like that for a week and a half coming here, we're going to be super busy. So we'll see how much we will be able to do. That's why we want to give you guys an update on this. But one sad thing was, of course, the address to our place here was leaked, and no one ever showed up.
I knew that was gonna happen.
So if there's anyone out there that does want to show up, then you have about a week and a half still. Please come by. We'll say hello to you and treat you right. So definitely drop by. No, but nothing came of that, which was kind of interesting. It was a big failure, actually. The whole end result, the whole hack and everything that happened to us while we're at this phase too. This is coming up on almost a year. Not quite a year yet, but about 10 months or so. Was really a big failure, and we came back much stronger. We had, of course, better websites, more security and stuff like that. So this is going to be good. And so things here were really fun. And so thank you to everyone who's watching and for joining us for the time that we've been here. As I said, we'll keep you updated, and we'll bring you more videos in the meantime, but of course. But as new studio space is concerned, we'll check in with you guys once we're starting setting things up on that end. So thank you for watching. You want to say a few words, Lana?
So here's my big, beautiful chair. I've been recording in the last 2 years. Obviously, it's going with us. Good to say goodbye to the space, actually. I'm looking forward to fresh energy, fresh starts. And also, to clarify, we're actually going to be somewhere else temporarily for 4 weeks before we can get into our permanent space. So we'll have another temporary setup before the permanent space.
Yep.
It'll be good in the end. Thanks for watching, and if you guys want to help donate, we definitely need the support. We want to expand and do some cool things in our new studio, so if you feel compelled, donate. Thank you, guys.
See you guys later. Bye-bye. Ground storage facility and this supposed scientific research center, which they bombed as well. A lot of fake footage was actually released the day off as well. People were posting like 2013 previous strikes between Israel and Syria. They posted old 2003 Iraq invasion footage even, and tried to post that off as being what actually happened over Damascus that night, that morning. But anyway, so 3 locations which they struck, right? So let's look at those a little bit, because this is an interesting thing to just check out briefly. There were 3 images released by the Pentagon, basically, which is of course the damage assessment, as they said. One was the Himachine SAR chemical weapons storage facility. Again, no proof that they stored chemicals here. Also, if they stored chemicals here and blew them up, is that going to release the chemicals as if they should put people in danger? I don't know, you tell me. Here's one of the supposed bunker sites. This is an underground storage facility Here you see the Pentagon's image of this preliminary damage assessment of the Himshinshar CW chemical weapons bunker. And then, of course, you have the above ground facility as well. Here's the analysis, both in cost, but also the amount. And this is just, I mean, this is amazing when you break this down. A total of $140 million, $140.7 million in costs. And of course, then you have 66 Tomahawk missiles used. They are over $1 million a piece. Can you imagine $1 million a piece? Then you have 8 Storm Shadow missiles. They're also over $1 million. 19 JASM, they call them, missiles. These are fairly new, I guess, and 12 cruise missiles. And of course, these were fired from a couple of different locations. Here is South Front, good YouTube channel. They're breaking down this for us. So here we go. Those are all the locations that they fired from, right? So over 103 missiles were launched. And so what's interesting here is that there's a claim of intercept, that they've been intercepted, right? If they only went to 3 locations, how the hell is it that so little damage has been made? This is a failure of the mission, basically. Like, look at that, 76 missiles hit the Barza Research and Development Center. Then you had 22 missiles hit the chemical weapons storage site, and then 7 hit the supposed chemical weapons bunker. We can even take a look at a map. Let's check this out. And let's zoom in here and just let's take a look at the alleged chemical bunker that was hit, and just how small that is. This is the bunker, right? A tiny little piece, right? There's one target right there. This is outside of Homs, which is up here. So it's right down there. It's how small this is, like how insignificant. You have Homs right up here. But the other location, I believe, is down here. Here's the alleged chemical weapons storage facility that was bombed as well. And there was these buildings you see here. But you know, again, if you zoom out on a map, you see how small and insignificant this is. And I'm not saying this to degrade the situation, but I'm also saying it because of what you're getting for over $100 million. We'll take a look at the last third target, which was, I guess, the most important one, if you will, as well. But for this, you know, for these costs, for this immense, just amazing amount of missiles, you get those 2 little targets that we looked at right there, just outside of Homs, and then, of course, the third target, which is the chemical, or the research facility, the study center, basically. And there's been, you know, some contradictory information, as always, about this stuff. You know, what do they do there and stuff like that. And I saw some tweets that look like this. The Scientific Research Center in Damascus that the US-led strike hit earlier today from the inside, this person claims. Students, you know, research facilities, science, they were developing things, they were studying things, how to get, you know, clean drinking water and stuff like that. And I'm not discounting that they didn't have chemicals, but it might just be bullshit. It might be a bullshit target. That's all I'm saying. Some people are claiming that many of the missiles actually were intercepted along the way. I don't know if this is true. Here's South Front again. Plug them a little bit. They have a really good YouTube channel. They show you on a map who controls what area, what's happened, developments. So 76 super precise, you know, overwhelming success, you know, targeted these 3 buildings. It's a bit strange. So it is possible that the air defense systems that the Syrian Air Force defense has is what this old, you know, Soviet basically issue, right? It's from the Soviet Union. They had bought a lot of these old, you know, S200 and S300. I think they have a couple. They have tons of them, but you know, there's some of them. And the theory was that they either worked well enough to take down some of these Tomahawks and stuff. Tomahawks apparently is an older missile. It's somewhat outdated, I hear. And they actually are meant to fly low below the radar, but they're fairly slow. And so, is it possible that some of these anti-ballistic missile, you know, defense weapons that they have, managed to take them out. Well, I don't know. Again, the footage shows actually some of these, like this one. I don't know. I mean, some of the footage showed, like you can see right there, them being the explosions happening, and that they were intercepted. They hit something, unless they just randomly exploded in the sky. So, South Front was speculating that basically there was tons of them that were intercepted. 71 of them, in fact, of the 103 were intercepted. And one theory was that they also got help, not by Russian, anti-missile defense systems, but not weapons directly, but actually the radar system, or they used GPS or some kind of reconnaissance, basically, their own satellite monitoring reconnaissance net, where they provided this information in due time to the Syrian forces, and they managed to use that data to target them. That's a possibility that people have speculated about, and just also how much it cost them and how little they got for it, right? Again, we haven't seen any footage, as far as I know, from the bunkers and the above storage facility out of homes, but we have seen, some footage from the research center, basically. And so, I don't know, you tell me. Complete waste of money. Absolutely amazing. We're not going to get America is not going to get a wall, of course. We don't have any money for that, but these strikes that happen all the time, no problem. I mean, Trump did sign the omnibus bill, amazing amount of money to the military and stuff like that. And so is this the continued bullshit that we're going to see from America? I just don't know. But in all reality, when we looked at the map on this thing, you realize just what, we feel upset that it's like, they've struck the whole country. They've attacked Syria, but when you begin to zoom into these areas just outside of Homs here, those two small locations and this three buildings outside of a suburb of Damascus, you realize it's like it's really nothing, to be honest. I mean, it's not good, but that's amazing what happened here. I mean, it's the thought, it's the idea, it's the audacity that they're doing this against a Syrian research facility on not only frivolous basis, on no basis whatsoever. It's just these intelligence reports that they've released, and nothing has come from it. No proof has come from this. So it is aggravating, but just to calm the situation a little bit, just looking at the map, you see how tiny of areas this is. But it should never have been done. I'm in no way saying anything else, and it is an atrocity. But just to feel a bit better that it's like, whoop-de-doo, like three locations. America wasted $100 million. I mean, they look stupid in this situation, especially if most of them were intercepted, which we just don't know at this point. So let's move quickly through the rest now. I just wanted to detail a little bit more about the White Helmet, some of these other organizations that were providing this supposed data to the United Nations, to the US, to UK, to France, and of course their assessment of the situation. One of the things, we talked about White Helmets already, of course. We know that this is a bullshit organization. They're receiving lot of money from the West. They receive money to act as a propaganda outlet. Assad himself has said that they're Al-Qaeda, they're Al-Nusra Front. They shave their beards. They are, posing as a health organization when in effect they are part of the rebels. There's some proof of this too. We'll take a look at some of that footage in a minute. But the one that specifically provided the detail about this latest attack in Douma, the supposed chemical attack, is a group called the Syrian American Medical Society, SAMS. There's an interesting article from TruthDig that I just wanted to read a little passage from for you so that you can understand just who these guys are. So the Syrian American Medical Society, SAMS, together with the White Helmets, SAMS have been cited by the Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, and virtually every Western media organization reporting on the incident in Douma. SAMS staff have claimed that they treated more than 500 people for symptoms indicative of exposure to a chemical agent. The group also played a central role in shaping the narrative of the sarin attack in Al-Qaeda-controlled Khan Sheikhoun in April 2017. That's the last time Trump sent missiles onto the country, providing biomedical samples for the Organization for the Prevention of Chemical Weapons, the OPCW, right? And this is this issue that this is why they're suspicious, Russia, because if they are working together with the OPCW, then they might be compromised. They might be getting the data from SAMS, and everyone thinks that they're a trustful organization, when in effect, they're also part of the conspiracy, if you will, of fuddling the numbers and providing wrong info and stuff like that. But anyway, so the article continues to say that when they're providing biomedical samples to the OPCW, which violated its stated protocol by accepting evidence without a verifiable chain of custody. So this is a pretty serious situation here. It says that scant published material is available on the organization's origin as an exile arm of the Islamist-oriented Syrian opposition, its involvement in sophisticated influence operations from the Turkish-Syrian border, or its close relationship to neoconservative elements in Washington and Al-Qaeda's affiliate in Syria. SAMS is not merely a group of Syrian doctors tending to the wounded in war-torn areas, nor can it be considered an objective source of chemical attacks or other atrocities. The organization is a U.S. aid-funded lobbying powerhouse that functions with a single-minded determination to stimulate a U.S.-led war of regime change that will place Syrian Islamists in power in Damascus, right? They want to oust Assad, and they're using SAMS to their advantage to do this. It goes on to say that the organization's budget jumped from $672,000 in 2013 to nearly, check this out, $6 million in 2015. Wow, that's a lot of money. Almost a tenfold increase. Over $5.8 million of that funding came from U.S. aid, an arm of the U.S. State Department that boasts its own Office of Transition Initiatives to encourage regime change in stated targets by the West. So that's a little bit from that article. I just find that really interesting that, Truthdig digs out some of this out. U.S. aid, of course, is a big pawn or a big actor in the situation to create pawns such as SAMS. But so tons of money behind this organization. What's their stated goal? And same thing goes for the white helmets, right? That's why it's important that we look twice at this. And also the data, the science, the proof that comes to us, we can't just take it at face value either. It's even possible that the OPCW is compromised in some way, or rather that they are willing and naive enough to receive data from organizations which truly have a political agenda and objective or regime change behind toppling Assad, of course. So as an example to this, let's take a look at a report out of RT that detailed what the Russian Military of Defense came out stating a while ago. They have talked about the fact that they are operations that are staged. This is why Nikki Haley was sitting in the UN talking about how it's not fake news and it's not a conspiracy and yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? There's a lot of information behind this. And if you are open-minded, you should listen to both sides of this of the argument here. And at this point, America hasn't offered much proof. America, UK, and France haven't offered much proof. It's circumstantial. They're just saying that they're looking at footage online, and they just say, well, Assad has chemical weapons, and the rebel groups possibly can't. So who else is it going to be, kind of thing? Now, actually, check out this report here from RT, and this was released by you 20 days or so before the supposed chemical attack actually took place. Check this out.
Russia's defense ministry says rebel groups have been armed with chemical weapons in Syria and are planning to stage false flag attacks as a pretext for the US to carry out airstrikes.
Representatives of the Russian armed forces have said they have reason to believe that the United States at its Al-Qarib base in Syria has been preparing squads of rebels, fighters, to stage a chemical provocation, a chemical weapons attack in the south of Syria, in Daraa, which borders Jordan and Israel. They've been provided, allegedly, as many as 20 tons of chlorine, as well as detonators disguised as cigarette packs. And this attack is imminent. Defense officials have said that this attack will be blamed on the Syrian government and will be used as an excuse by the United States and its allies to strike at Bashar al-Assad, his government and his military directly.
The provocations mentioned will be used as a pretext for the United States and its allies to conduct airstrikes against military and state infrastructure in Syria. We're seeing that such strikes are being prepared by warships in the Mediterranean, the Red Sea, and in the Persian Gulf.
At the same time, speaking in Astana, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, said that the Syrian conflict is beginning to look less like a proxy war than a direct confrontation.
There are US special forces on the ground. They are no longer denying this. They are accompanied by the British, French, and special forces from other countries. It's not a proxy war anymore, but rather a direct involvement in the war. We condemn their illegal presence on Syria's territory. US-led coalition is not legitimate from the UN point of view either. We are pragmatic people, and we understand that we should not engage in armed conflict with them.
Representatives of the Russian armed forces have also talked about the situation in East Ghouta, from which they say 47,000 civilians have fled in the last several weeks. They say there's a huge operation, humanitarian operation underway. 3 convoys of 8 have gone into Ghouta as well, and they say the UN representatives on the ground in East Ghouta have praised the Russian and Syrian effort in relieving the situation there, providing food and other aid for civilians in need. They also say that armed groups in East Ghouta, as well as Islamists, expressed the desire to leave East Ghouta for Idlib, for other locations, once their sponsors give the green light.
Wow, pretty incredible stuff. The MOD, the military Russian Defense Department, Ministry of Defense, just openly talking about this now. It's pretty amazing stuff that it's staged and stuff. And obviously, I mean, we understand that there are things that would benefit them, etc. And there are things that, you know, the agendas that they have, and no one is denying that. But I mean, just looking at it objectively between these two sides, I mean, Russia is telling the truth. They're just, I mean, they're more truthful. It's just a fact. These cover-ups and these lies and this bullshit, and no proof from the Americans and their ally side is just, I mean, I don't know how you can see it any different. But anyway, so, you know, Russia is the bad guy, and whatever they say, it's always going to be wrong. And so you can't trust it, basically. So yeah, this is more or less right according to the playbook, just as they said 20 days before. Pretty amazing stuff that they called this, and that they were actually accurate on this. Location was a bit off, but they did go to Ghouta, and they were talking about how many civilians were actually being exported. You know, they fled from the area, basically, as the rebels were taking it over. And then Syria, with the help of Russia, started to push back against these rebels in Ghouta, specifically Jaish al-Islam. That's when this chemical attack happened. That's when this gas attack occurred, which of course incentivized America to get back into the game, knock Syria back into their position, and immediately you had not only ISIS but other organizations. By the way, I thought ISIS was out of there, but reports came out that ISIS started pushing back against the Syrian Arab forces right away, or the Arab army, and trying to fight back basically immediately and gain from the situation. It's pretty amazing. You know, you had U.S. instructors that supposedly had provided 20 tons of chlorine to rebel groups, according to this report. Just keep in mind here, though, that this is nothing new. This kind of stuff has been going on for years now, not only in Syria, but in other theaters and conflicts as well. Here's another example of the what the BBC ran in terms of a strange report. Check this out.
Dear United Nations, you're recalling peace. You're calling for peace. What kind of peace are you calling for? Don't you see this? Don't you see this? What do you need to see? We are just human beings. We want to live. You know? Isn't it our right to live? Isn't it?
In a basic hospital funded by handouts, the emergency beds were
Dear United Nations, you're recalling peace. You're calling for peace. What kind of peace are you calling for? Don't you see this? Don't you see this? What do you need to see? We are just human beings. We want to live. You know? Isn't it our right to live? Isn't it?
In a basic hospital funded by handouts, the emergency beds were
this kind of stuff is happening all the time. There's many of these kind of staged things, but just keep in mind, you know, as we kind of continue talking about this too, that these rebel groups and stuff, they kidnap kids, they hold them hostage, they go after civilians. Here's an image of these Alawi kids literally being held in cages. You know, and you have to understand that when you see the kind of footage from, you know, for example, like the gassing of people, right? This was one of this footage that was released. The proof of Assad's brutality. This is why Trump called him an animal, right? He's just indiscriminately killing people like this. Well, the point is, this footage seemed to show that something was done to people that were being held in a I mean, it looks like a basement or something like that, to be honest. All these people, you see how many of them there is in a very small area as well. They have either run to try to hide in one same area, but there's no, you can't see the windows. It almost feels like these people were held hostage or kidnapped, including, my God, I mean, look at that, children and everything. And I'm not saying that these are not dead bodies. They are. So supposedly these chlorine canisters, the gas, the chemicals that was released was dropped from the sky, from a helicopter or from an airplane. We don't know. And it looked like some of the footage there that we don't see that much damage. It just looks like a small confined place, and so we don't know what's going on. But again, you can't trust it. Here's more. Another one actually where children are being used as well. And this is an interesting one. Check this out. So it's kind of strange, right? Like, what is this? This is clearly staged, and I mean, what's going on here? This is an interesting story because it turns out this was not a staging as you would think of it. This was actually a school, although interestingly in the Kuta region, that did a kind of a theater, an act to play for children so that they would become aware of how dangerous it is with chemical weapons, and also what happens if you are subjected to chemical weapons. Now, of course, it was filmed, so people assumed that it was like, well, this was obviously used, so that it could be staged, right? RT had a piece about that. We'll go back to them again as a source. But if RT was Russian propaganda for the sake of just propaganda, then a video that we just took a look at would in fact be used as propaganda because it would benefit the Russian regime to show that there are stagings and stuff like that. But it wasn't. They actually dug into it, and they dug into the truth of what this was. So what, as I said, it was just a children's, not a play, but it was like, a group came to the school to educate them about how dangerous it is with chemical weapons. It was like an awareness and prevention kind of campaign, basically. So people had used this and said, well, this is more evidence it's staged and faked. But it wasn't that simple. It shows that obviously that it can be done, and it shows that you have things like this going on in the region. But basically, this was not one of those cases. It was not run by a intelligence, The rural Damascus media description of this video reads, the aim of the play was to teach children the horrors of being under attack by chemical weapons and to show the world its neglect and failure to take action on a man who would use such weapons against his own citizens. Right? So yes, it was kind of anti-Assad and stuff like that, but it was not just a straight up staging. This was actually from 2013, and as you can see on your screen right there, this is the original video when it was released. As you can see, that's September 19th, 2013. And so this is what's going on with that video. But it is another example. It is one more kind of thing to add to the pile that these things happen and people can use it, you know, to their advantage. But I respect the fact that, you know, RT dug into it and they found that it's like, no, it's not staged from an intelligence operative or for the purpose of claiming that this is against Assad, etc. But here's another one that we should ask questions about. Right? You see what's going on there? People are running into the scene, faking it. There's just a car bomb. They play on it, explode a car, and then, you know, the ambulances come in and stuff. And that was shot, I think, on a surveillance camera. Someone filmed the footage being played back. So this kind of stuff happens. I mean, it's war. The first casualty is truth in war, as we know, and this kind of stuff happens all the time. So you can't believe it. But let's talk about the white helmets, and just quickly, I'm going to show you that white helmets actually worked together with ISIS people in ISIS territory. There was an interesting documentary made back in 2015 by a kidnapped British journalist who it's believed that they turned him to basically an ISIS operative, and he actually did a documentary where he showed some of this. Let's take a look at this and see if we can spot what's going on here.
Now, floating around in the skies above us is a drone. I don't know if you can just see it up there above my right shoulder, but there were drones in Mosul, and now there are drones flying overhead here in Al-Bab, just northeast of Halab. But life continues. The Mujahideen really don't care how many eyes in the sky are looking down on them. And at some point, that drone will be taking photographs, dropping bombs, or firing missiles. We're in the middle here of the market, which is a completely civilian area, and there's just been a large bomb strike on that building behind me. We heard the explosion. We were just about 5 minutes over that way. The fire brigade, Islamic State fire brigade, are here trying to clear up the mess. But it's absolute pandemonium. And all this follows a drone, which we saw 5 minutes ago, and then Assad's Air Force comes in and drops bombs on the market. Now, as far
he claims that the U.S. is working with Assad here to bomb, but check behind him there. It's pretty interesting. He's talking about the Islamic State Fire Brigade. He's in Aleppo, which is called, I guess, Halab in the local language. But you can see that Islamic State right behind them there. Look at that. And so they're called he's calling them the fire department of the Islamic State. They're in an ISIS-controlled area right here, and they're working hand in hand with the white helmets. Right, look at that. White helmets shows up, coordinating how to solve the situation, and right there, even look at that. I'm pausing. You have an ISIS dude running out. Right, this is in that controlled area. So this is very interesting. Back in 2015, I think they have supposedly been. I think they've been fought back from this region since then. But they're frauds. This is the proof. They're frauds. They're working with ISIS. And so just as Assad has said in some of his clips, he's talking about how they are. He called them Al Qaeda. I mean, it's the same group, Al Qaeda, Al Nusra Front, right? They shave their beards and they pose as humanitarians. And then this clip proves some of that. It shows that they're just they're confident with each other and they're working together. Here's more of what they found. Actually, I believe it was the French reporter after they pushed people back from Aleppo when it was liberated in 2016. Check this out.
Ok. Donc c'est le plus grand quartier général encore, je le répète. Et c'est les casques. Ça, c'est Daesh, Jabhat al-Nusra. Ça, c'est les white helmets.
So white helmets working together with al-Nusra and ISIS. Here's what some of the Western powers think of this group.
They are fantastically brave, these white helmets. I'm proud to say we're giving them another, I think, £32 million of funding as part of a wider £65 million package for non-humanitarian aid.
Yep, that's right. So Boris Johnson loves these people, not mine. Here's another British guy, by the way, going off script on Sky News. Let's just talk about media reception and how we in the West are receiving everything that's happening in Syria right now. Here's a guy he's a former head of British armed forces who kind of goes off script basically. And this is how Sky News reacts.
Do you think anything what we've heard from either Sergei Lavrov or indeed the Russian ambassador has made it more difficult for the UK to launch any kind of attack without putting it in Parliament?
Yeah, I think quite apart from all that, the debate that seems to be missing from this is, and this was actually mentioned by the ambassador, was what possible motive might have triggered Syria to launch a chemical attack at this time in this place. The Syrians are winning. Don't take my word for it. Take the American military's word for it. General Vogel, the head of CENTCOM, he said to Congress the other day, Assad has won this war, and we need to face that. So, and then you got last week the statement by Trump, or the tweet by Trump, that America had finished with ISIL and we were going to pull out very soon. And then suddenly you get...
Okay, I'm very sorry. You've been very patient waiting for us, but we do need to leave it there. I'm very sorry. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, going off script. I can't tell the truth. Absolutely amazing. These are vital, important, positions that these guys, or thoughts that these guys share, basically. So we can try to figure out the reasoning. Like, wait a minute, why? Why would he do this? This is the most stupid thing ever. It's amazing. And then occasionally it slips out, and then they're, of course, cut off. Let's check another clip.
That made to appear that some chemical weapons were used. What appeared on to our investigation that that was used by the opponents, by the rebels, and we have no indication at all that the government, Syria, the authority of the Syrian government had used chemical.
So this reeks of a false flag operation.
Rebel forces have been accused many times of chemical weapons attacks in Syria. I myself visited a destroyed school in Aleppo last year, where we saw evidence there that rebels have been using it as a chemical weapons making factory.
So let's keep watching some more media. Here's another example from CBS News. They're talking with Marcos Kounalakis. He is a foreign affairs columnist at McClatchy News. They're talking about Russia, the reaction, and also, of course, Trump weaved into this as well. Check out this guy.
I think that Russia, and when we talk about Russia, we're really talking about Vladimir Putin's Russia. What we're talking about is a Russia that is not informed at a domestic level about the attacks. There's a great deal of disinformation going on. So we're looking at how Putin and his team of cronies and his Defense Department are reacting to this. And what we see are two things. One is that for Putin, he is domestically strengthened by this because his population does not believe that, in fact, there was a chemical weapons attack. So he's able to build domestic support for his actions or his inactions and make the international community that has attacked, that means the United States, France, and Britain, look like the bad guys. Right? The second thing is his position in Syria really doesn't change at this point. Nothing was attacked that would affect or degrade the Russian presence within Syria, where they are very active and they rely on Syria for naval basing and for other activity. They also do a fair amount of sales of their weaponry to Syria. So I don't expect to see anything different from Russia. Their disinformation campaign will continue. Their discrediting campaign of the West, whether it's in the United Nations or wider in the international community, will continue. And Russia comes out of this unscathed.
So, we've already detailed that, Russia has been on location. They have been done tests. They have, through the UN, initiated, basically an identification of the perpetrator to be made through resolutions. It's been denied by the US. And then the US goes and does this transgression and illegal, firing of missiles onto Syria, a sovereign nation with a democratically elected leader that they're trying to topple. And of course, bozos like this have the audacity to talk about how they are the disinformation, people in this. It's like, without even recognizing that the West hasn't provided any proof. They've not provided any proof. Like, look, can you give us some proof? What is the proof? More beyond conjecture, and you're you just repeating it and saying it, so it's just not going to happen. So this guy actually believes that Assad did this because it would benefit Assad to pull Iran and Russia into it. So he's turned around the whole situation where basically no, there's no benefit for Assad for doing this because he knew that he would be punished by America and be dragged into it. And he's even stated in previous interviews that no, we didn't do this. We gave up our chemical weapons. We don't have an interest. Even if we had some, we wouldn't use them. And I believe the guy. I mean, look, comparing the track record of what the U.S. has done and how many leaders they've toppled, how many elections they've meddled in, how many countries they've invaded and deposed leaders and stuff like this. They have a track record of lying. As far as I know, I'm not saying that the other guys don't do that or whatever, but when this situation comes down to it, when it's down to the nuts and bolts of the issue, then these guys they're telling the truth. Russia is actually doing investigations. They're talking about them staging false flag attacks and stuff like that. So anyway, this guy's completely turned it on his head and says that, well, it would benefit Assad because it would drag all these other powers into the situation, which is completely ludicrous. He's talking a bit later, too, by the way, about Trump and how he views Trump afterwards. I bet you this guy was probably a never Trumper as well. But at this time, they're all coming around to him. They're all thinking he's great. And in this case, everyone is teamed up. Everyone is on the same page. Liberals, progressive. It's actually more or less just as far as I've seen, the far left and more prominently the far right that has come out against this attack. Everyone who's a liberal in-betweener, an extreme centrist, as it were, they all agree with this. They want to see Assad toppled, no bars had. But let's listen to this part where he talks about Trump.
So this is really an interesting point, Errol, because what we're seeing with President Trump is what I think is really true, which is that he wants to actually withdraw from the Middle East. That is something that he's stated both during the campaign and, as you pointed out, very recently about getting out of Syria. On the other hand, you're seeing the reality of the international pressures and the humanitarian demands on the United States to remain in. So we're seeing some very odd movement in terms of what the president desires and how he's behaving. I'll give you one great example. This is the week that Donald Trump became a multilateralist. Not only did he enter into this Syria action with two other countries, two allies, France and Britain, but this is also the week when he instructed his team to try and re-enter TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership that he was so opposed to during the campaign. So
look at this guy; he's excited about it. Oh my God, he's multilateralist, which is just a sanitized word for saying globalist, basically. Like, he's all excited about this. Finally, the guy's in. He's more presidential now than ever. Even Saeed Khan, or whatever the hell his name is, on CNN, who said that after the first strike in 2017. He became the president now. It's like you get a bomb into the country, and then you're truly legitimate. Then you're a president. These are maniacs, and this guy is just no different. A complete nutball who's excited about this. And if it's true that Trump will enter back into the TPP again, then, I mean, there's no more proof that we need that he is compromised at this point. Something has happened. You had that fire in Trump Tower. You had probably, I don't know, but his family might have been threatened, or he was threatened, where basically there's like, listen, you do what we tell you, or we will take out your family. We'll kill your son. We'll torture your wife. Who knows what he was told? But you could see it on the press conference when he was talking about making the strike against Syria, and he was. It didn't look like himself. That's all I can say. I think that he's compromised. And of course, these nut job globalists are just, they're super excited about this. But Last point, there's many allegations, many of the claims that we can break down of the proof. I did take a look at France paper. They released one hindsight because there was some critique made against them regarding, you know, the strike that they did, and there is some footage, of course, of their naval, the frigate that actually performed the attack. Here's some of this footage where they fired their Storm Shadow, was it the Scalp cruise missiles or something like that, and they did get a lot of pressure back home. You know, no one liked what they did. They didn't run it through the parliament as usual, but you know, Britain and France, they jumped up and down to do what America wanted, and it's very sad. But anyway, this document here, I did a Google Translate of it. It's by no means perfect, but it's enough to understand kind of the basics of what's going on. And in the document, they are literally talking about videos posted to social media as part of the proofs. They're basically talking all about the observations that were made. What happened here is, you know, they're talking about the symptoms that they saw in the people in the videos. You know, we went to social media, and they concluded that, well, it's far too prolific. There's too many sources that had videos posted to them at once. So therefore, it cannot have been staged or a hoax, which is just not true. That's just ridiculous. You could have a situation where, you know, basically you had a staging in the sense that something real happened, and then people actually were hurt or semi-hurt. Or you had what one of the guys from the video that the Russian Minister of Defense released, they went and interviewed people and talked with them. 2 doctors claimed that they were part of this, and they say that someone came in shouting that there was a chemical attack, and everyone started freaking out, and they started pouring water on each other. In other words, they thought that they were subjected to something, and then everyone were freaking out. But anyway, some of the videos, obviously, as we saw earlier, those in the basement, as long as that's real dead bodies, which it looks like it to me, and some other, you know, issues where they have respiratory problems that might have been subjected to something, or they were actually subjected to chlorine by the rebel forces. But anyway, so the French had looked at the symptoms. They detailed this in this document, how, like, well, they had asphyxiation and suffocation, they had respiratory problems, they have you know, salivation and stuff like that. And I went through the document, and they're basically just observing. They're observing what happened. And of course, if all the people were part of something or subjected to something, you could have a lot of people that were dragged into it, who did take photos and videos, and they did put it online and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that it wasn't a setup or staged by rebels. It might have been real in that sense, but it was staged. It was like arranged to drag real people into it, so it would seem that way. But as I went through the document, there is no proof. They even talk here about, like, Jaish al-Islam and stuff like that. They talk about some of the groups that we're aware about, and they basically conclude that, well, they don't have access to chemical weapons, so it can't be anyone else. Then it's just Assad that remains. But there's not a single proof in this document. And remember, Nikki Haley and also the UK people, they all kind of cross-referenced each other, or you know, America said, well, the UK and France have also concluded this. And then France says, well, America and the UK have also concluded this. And the UK says, well, America and France have also concluded this. And they more or less basic on this circular logic where there's like nothing outside of their little bubble that proves anything. So it's incredibly aggravating to see that people take this as face value, and all these mouthpieces in media, mainstream media, don't really question. There's a couple of articles coming out now, like the one with Robert Fitz we looked at earlier, but beyond that, there's not that much more. There isn't that much more from the mainstream media. And so they are losing face, they are losing credibility, they don't ask the questions. They have access to the Pentagon people, they have access to the inside information in many cases. They have a front row seat at the White House, at the Pentagon, at all these press events and stuff, but none of them are asking the real, you know, heavy-hitting questions, which is like, you need to prove to us that this really happened. Present your evidence. Russia has done this time and time again. They had these, you know, people at the Ministry of Defense that were talking about this. And I think as a last measure before we round things up here, let's take a look at that to see at least what they have claimed and what they have presented which is more evidence. It's not 100%. It is not conclusive yet at this point. They've even said that they're going to present some of this evidence. But let's take a look at it, and you can judge for yourself what you think.
There have been allegations stated by the West against the Syrian government, saying that the Syrian government has used chemical weapons against the population of Syria. But up until this point, there has been no evidence presented by the West to lay some basis for the fact that there has been actually a chemical attack. We believe that there has been a provocation in order to provoke the US to make a strike against Syria. There is a video clip filmed in the hospital of the town of Duma, where allegedly people have been brought, people have suffered from the chemical attack. We have been able to find people in this clip, and these people will be telling in details how they were filmed, what they did, and how all of this operation was staged. They're going to show the film, they're going to show the clips, and both people are doctors, medical doctors, and work in the hospital of Duma. All the people brought to the hospital, according to these people, had no traces of suffering from a chemical attack. Once they were giving medical aid, when these people were giving medical aid, some people ran into the building shouting that those who had suffered and those who were receiving medical treatment were in fact poisoned by chemical weapons, and they started using water to try to wash them. Then they left the building. As you can see, these people are showing that they are present in the video. These people do not try to be anonymous. These are not some anonymous statements in the social media or some anonymous statements by some activists. These are actual people who became part of this staging. I'd like to remind you that Russia has warned about the fact that there will be soon attempts to stage a chemical attack. Russia also possesses other evidence that shows that UK is involved in organizing this provocation in eastern Ghouta. We have information that from 3rd to the 6th of April, the so-called white helmets have been it was attempted to make them show that there has been a provocation. There was information about shelling near Damascus, and the white helmets were supposed to report this, and this was supposed to be a provocation.
So, no conclusive evidence yet, but at least Russians, the MOD has looked into it. They have sent people to location. They have had their intelligence, but they have done interviews. They've been on location. There is some of that footage when they're walking around in the rubble. They're walking around with people on representative location. They are, meeting with officials in Syria. They're filming the buildings. They're looking around. They're checking things out. They're on location. They're trying to figure it out. And of course, this is what the West then went on to accuse them of destroying the evidence. So while they were there, they took away all the evidence of these chemical attacks, so that nothing would so that they can't prove that this actually happened. So anyway, this drama is going to continue, and this is far from over. We just have to say the OPCW is going to do their job next. Hopefully they will be provided accurate information, and we know that this is a risk. We don't know if they're going to be provided with the right info, or if they're going to be taking info from another compromised organization that has ulterior motives. So we'll just have to see. We'll await that, but I think we should round things up for this time, and we'll keep you updated as things develop in this bizarre drama, very interesting, and of course, as usual, highly volatile and dangerous situation. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you are watching this on redicemembers.com, our members website, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Lana with Red Eyes, and I am disgusted by the warmongering elites, politicians, media, and both neocons and progressives who support bombing Syria. A strong and clear anti-war stance is among a minority in the US. Let's get to the point and cut through all the noise. Assad was a democratically elected leader who has the support of the majority. The people love him. It is Islamic terrorists who don't. He's also the one guy in the Middle East who is friendly toward Christians. Both left and right in unison united to regurgitate the lie that Assad used chemical weapons, gassing his own people. There was zero proof last year and zero proof this year that he did so. In fact, it is ISIS who is notorious for using chemical weapons. Yet somehow it's unthinkable to the West that ISIS would ever do such a thing. The Syrian representative to the UN told the UN Security Council that he had proof on video that the chemical attack was a fraud, but no one cared to see it. Easy to play a video for all to see. Assad was guilty before any evidence. Random photos prove nothing. You think ISIS or the Western globalists they're in cahoots with wouldn't try anything? False flags are nothing new in war, and we all know Western globalists actively fund armed terrorists. Remember the fake incubator baby story from Iraq? Or the infamous lampshades and soap claims in World War II? All fake, but the media never apologized for pushing those bogus stories. Here we are again. How convenient that right before a team of investigators was coming to Syria to discover if there were any chemical weapons, America, London, and Paris dropped bombs on Syrian targets that they claimed were the source of chemical weapons. So they knew about these facilities and did nothing but bomb them and destroy the evidence. And Americans paid for it. Each missile was $1.4 million a pop, and there was more than 100. The majority of your income taxes as Americans go to fund bombs like this. No money for a wall, can't deport illegals, can't stop terrorists, or deal with our own cold civil war at home. But there's money and lots of willpower to invade sovereign countries like Syria. England and France have their own major issues with mass immigration, where more of their own people have died at home from terrorism on their soil than from this alleged chemical attack by Assad. There's no resources to fight terrorism at home, no ability to deport Islamic gang rapists, no money to help elderly English folks keep their homes in the winter, and they die because of it, but all the resources to bomb Syria, and of course deport European nationalists from the UK. Assad, who was winning the war, would not then gas his own people who supported him, only to have the West descend upon him. The US and their allies and their profitable war machine just ensured that the war will continue. And they sided against the one man who is fighting actual terrorists. The same enemies who are coming to the West and killing and attacking Europeans in great numbers. Just because politicians and the media keep repeating the lie that Assad used chemical weapons doesn't make it true. There is no proof. It's just like the hysterical claim that Putin hacked the US election. But even if we're going to believe the lie that Assad gassed his own people, it's not our problem to sort out the civil wars of other countries. Assad was doing just fine on his own, sorting out terrorists until the US and allies began meddling. But leave it to the US to help the bad guys every time. What if America or England was in a civil war, and Syria, Russia, or China invaded and began helping one side? Unthinkable, right? Well, that's what America does every time. And in their wake is nothing but chaos and ruin. Here's Iran in the 1950s before the CIA was doing just fine on his own, sorting out terrorists until the US and allies began meddling. But leave it to the US to help the bad guys every time. What if America or England was in a civil war, and Syria, Russia, or China invaded and began helping one side? Unthinkable, right? Well, that's what America does every time. and in their wake is nothing but chaos and ruin. Here's Iran in the 1950s, when the CIA removed a secular, democratically elected prime minister in favor of a radical Islamist regime. For crying out loud, America even fought side by side with communists against Germans who were trying to stop communism. Nationalists are the only strong, clear voice against war and global interventionist policy. But if you're against bombing mostly brown people in Syria and support Assad, you're a white supremacist. Or if you voice your opposition to a war with Syria and Russia, you're a Russian troll or an agent of the Kremlin. It's so insane. These people are the paranoid conspiracy theorists. Our military should be used at home to protect our border, not the borders of foreign nations. Over 55% of the federal budget goes to pay for war. That means the majority of your income, payroll, and corporate taxes are used for violence overseas. Meanwhile, Americans work and struggle to buy food, pay high housing costs, and preposterous medical bills. We pay and get nothing but war and more refugees and more fake refugees. Israel alone gets military aid in the amount of $38 billion. This is ludicrous. We are slaves paying for the war machine. Americans profit nothing from these wars. Israel is not our problem. And neither is Palestine, Congo, Sudan, Yemen, Somalia, Pakistan, and North Korea. Just stay out of it, America. The US is not the God-appointed moral police force of the world. They are violent bullies using force to determine the destiny of nations that are not theirs. That's why people hate America around the world. And it's so typical that lefties who were against colonialism in our past support it today when it comes to invading and toppling foreign leaders. Yeah, I hate commies, but if North Korea wants to be communist, it's their country. And if Italy wants to be fascist again, it's their choice. It's not up to America to determine their destiny. It would never happen the other way around. But if foreigners invade on our soil, then we can bring out the guns. And by the way, invaders are on our soil. What's next? If insane, warmongering elites aren't stopped, they'll come for anti-globalist leaders like Viktor Orban, Matteo Salvini, Putin, even Duterte, and any other country that is opposed to Western liberal dildo values. Syria and Russia did nothing wrong. But hey, I'm Russian through and through, so I must be an agent.
Oi, may buia, não deixa pela pura.
Thanks for watching, and thanks to our members who make videos like this possible. And to all those who have donated, thank you. Your support.
South Africa has been in the news a lot lately, but not in a good way. There's the pending extinction of the white rhinoceros and South Africa as the rape capital of the world, fistfights in parliament, rampant AIDS, and sometimes, not nearly often enough, there is reporting of black on white crime so intense as to be a sort of slow motion genocide. Almost never mentioned is the fact that this crime wave is actively encouraged by racist, anti-white elements in parts of the South African government. Now, if you're thinking that those evil white people are just getting what they deserve, here's a little history. The Afrikaners established the Cape Colony in 1652. The only inhabitants of the area were a few nomadic bands roving the countryside. The black tribes now saying the land belongs to them weren't there. Whites first encountered them up around the Fish River, some 1,200 miles from the Cape Colony, about 120 years after the colony was founded. With that out of the way, let's move on. I've traveled Africa from top to bottom. I've hitchhiked across the Sahara, and I know Southern Africa pretty well. All my travel was up close and personal, occasionally riding in comfortable buses, but more often hitching rides in cars, in the backs of trucks packed with locals, or whatever was available. And I did a lot of just plain walking, alone and unmolested. Most of the black Africans I met, especially those in the bush, were helpful, friendly, curious.
You may have mixed feelings about Milo Yiannopoulos, many people do, but if you're on the left, you really hate him. You've never hated anybody for some reason as much as Milo Yiannopoulos. And the effect is Milo Yiannopoulos can't even go to a bar without getting driven out by screaming people. It happened over the weekend. He went to a restaurant in Manhattan, but a crowd associated with the Democratic Socialists of America, most of whom seem like Christians, gathered around him to chant, quote, "Nazi scum, get out." Watch.
Nazi scum, get out! 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 Nazi scum, get out!
I wonder how many of those Democratic Socialists have their own student loans. Probably none. That would be my guess. Anyway, they claim that the Nazi label is justified because some of Milo's supporters once made a Nazi salute, they say. Well, it's not clear that Milo saw them do it. Whatever. The mob included an editor at The Nation magazine called Annie Shields and also a Gizmodo writer named Brendan O'Connor. So we contacted O'Connor and his editor for a comment, asked him to come on the show tonight. They sent us the statement, which they repeated on the phone. Go F yourselves, because they're writers. Chadwick Moore is a New York journalist who was with Milo at that bar and he joins us tonight. So here's the amazing thing to me. This took place, am I getting any of this wrong? This was a restaurant called Churchill's, named after Winston Churchill. It's on Park Avenue in New York. It has $16 salmon appetizers, and this was the venue that the socialists chose to meet at, a restaurant named after Churchill on Park Avenue.
And you notice all of the nationalistic British flags hanging around. I believe they must have come for the craft beer is what I decided. You know how the socialists love their $8 craft beers. That's the only thing I can come up with. Surely we thought this place would be safe. We made reservations. We just wanted a simple Sunday roast. We were looking forward to this. You know, he's British. He probably has had a good roast in a very long time. And we encountered, and of all the gin joints in the world, we had to walk into the one where the socialists were meeting.
So they started screaming at you and calling you names, and what happened?
Well, we had stepped outside for a moment, and on our way back into our table, they were shouting. They would not let us go back to our table. We figured we left our bags at our table, so we were going to see if they calmed down. If they didn't, we were just going to get our bags and leave out of respect for the staff and other customers. Other customers you can see in some of those videos were scared, and they were actually running out with their children. So when we tried to go back to our table, they gathered around him and would not let us go back to our table. And a very large, I think it was a woman, it looks like a woman-ish, shoved Milo. And that is when we realized that this was going to get very violent. It was just the two of us. And we asked the staff if they would please retrieve our bags. And they did very politely. And Milo just said, I was a very big Trump supporter in the last election, and that's what this was about. And the waitress was very confused and said, okay. Clearly none of the staff or other patrons really knew what was going on or understood this reaction. We were just two guys trying to have some lunch, trying to have a roast.
Well, those Vassar grads are dangerous when they get mad. Did you know that they were going to be, that it was the meeting of the Trustafarians was in progress when you chose this restaurant?
Absolutely not. I didn't even know they knew where Park Avenue was. Well, their parents do, certainly. But absolutely not. We made reservations several days in advance. We just wanted an English roast, and this place had come very highly recommended. That was the end of it. I see on Twitter, because the optics of this are so terrible, and they know how awful they look, that I see on Twitter that they're trying to say that we had planned this. I see certified salon reporters with their blue check marks saying that Milo had brought his husband out, who everyone knows that Milo is married to a black guy. I don't know if they think I'm a Sean King or what, but so they keep trying to say we did this on purpose. No, we really wanted to have a peaceful life.
Here's one of the revolutionaries. This is Brendan O'Connor. He works at Gizmodo. This is the kid we wanted to have on tonight. I don't know if oh, there he is right there. And he's obviously acting on behalf of the global proletariat. This is the kid who says he's a journalist, but who was there sort of on behalf of the socialists. We checked, needless to say, from one of the richest suburbs of New Jersey, went to some $50,000 a year boarding school, apparently. Was he one of the people screaming at you?
Yeah, he marched outside and tried to doorstep Milo. He shoved a recorder in his face and started asking questions about 8-month-old news stories that involved him and other things that have been debunked. And Milo was just very polite and had said, "I'm here with my friend. If you want to interview me, please send an email to me and we'll set something up." He would not drop it. He didn't know what he was talking about. He was clearly nervous and fumbling, and had no idea what to ask Milo. Finally, Milo just said, "Leave me alone. I'm here with my friends. Get your facts straight. I will gladly give you a proper interview." And then we have, of course, this Nation editor who admitted on Twitter she runs the Nation's Twitter handle, and she
another worker.
Well, it's important to know. I don't have to tell you this, but they were all white. Obviously, I don't have to tell you
Shields.
This. All three of them. Yes. So she has been going on a storm on Twitter, setting up the working class and the people, and all of those precious black.
There was a time when socialists cared about economics and had an actual case to make. I don't agree with it, but I mean, they had a kind of reasoned, thought-out case.
Yes.
That was fundamentally an economic case, and then rich kids like this got involved, and it became all about race and gender, like everything. Anyway, Chadwick, exactly. thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. We've invited this Brendan O'Connor kid on, by the way, and we'll hope he'll come on from Gizmodo, and hopefully he'll come on tomorrow night and explain what he was doing at Churchill's scene of the revolution.
Well, it's been a week since UC Berkeley literally went up in flames in response to an attempted speech by Milo Yiannopoulos. Spoke to Yiannopoulos immediately afterward and had this to say.
All right, the left's attempt to shut down and just demonize conservatives in this country is ramping up again. This time, they're attacking African-American conservative commentator Candace Owens for taking on Black Lives Matter protesters during an event at UCLA. Take a look.
What is happening right now in the Black community, you're going to hear it in this room first. There's an ideological civil war happening. Black people that are focused on their past and shouting about slavery, and Black people that are focused on their futures. Victim mentality is not cool. I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which, by the way, none of you guys lived through. Your grandparents did. It's embarrassing that you utilize their history. You utilize their history, and you come in here with more emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. More emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. It's embarrassing. You're not living through anything right now. You're overly privileged American.
And on Saturday, Kanye West praised Owens on Twitter, and he wrote this, quote, "I love the way Candace Owens thinks, but not everyone of Owens is a fan with compliments and support Kanye West support." Look at what Tom Arnold went on a sexist, brutal, vicious, hateful, racist tirade on Twitter. Here's just some of what he tweeted. "Aside from being an insane alt-right race pimp, Candace Owens thinks Donald Trump is literally the Messiah, not you," at Kanye West. So you might want to reconsider. He also wrote at Real Candace, "Good luck glomming onto Kanye West. His family already told him you were a phony and a fraud, a former Democratic bad actress." But I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Candace now joins us here. You are a total star. I watched that tape. I am so impressed and so happy for you that you have this gift. But I am so sad for you also that you have to take on those vicious attacks like that.
Thank you so much, first of all, for the compliment. It means a lot coming from you. And let me tell you, do not be sad for me. This is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I intended to happen because I knew exactly what I was going up against. When you go up against the left, this is what they do. They try to essentially say that you think differently. I say it all the time. Blacks are ideological slaves and pawns to the Democratic Party.
Try to invest in real estate. If you don't put your money on under a mattress, believe me, I know what you mean. It's not the same though. How I watched Kanye West, I was so happy that he did that because that's what I always thought. Everybody should embrace this freedom. Because so many have a problem with this.
It's not a problem with it. You have to think about what the left has done successfully. They've hijacked our education. They've hijacked our families via LBJ and the Great Society Act, taking away Black fathers so that Black youth will start to look at hip-hop culture and NBA and NFL athletes for the right direction. This is why they're constantly utilizing Hollywood, and there's developed this underground system of conservative thinkers in Hollywood for fear of losing their jobs. Kanye West is just the first person that's brave enough to come out swinging and saying that he has a right to think according to how he would like to.
I really thought, honestly, it was so refreshing that he did that, and I was happy for you. You know, a very dear friend of mine, Deneen Borelli, she's been a guest on this program often. She wrote a best-selling book, Blacklash. The first thing she writes in the book is Google my name. And because she happens to be a Black American who is conservative, the things that come up are the most vicious. Why? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that the reason is because politics is downstream from culture. And if they lose the culture war, they lose absolutely everything they have. They cannot afford to have Black people thinking differently. If we move the Black vote even 5%, the Democratic Party is absolutely finished. So it's essentially a house of cards that they've been building. When you get Black icons like Kanye West, you get...
Oh, I'm sorry. Finish your thought. No, finish your thought.
Or you get Black stars to speak out against them, they're in trouble.
Look at under President Trump, Black and Hispanic unemployment is at the lowest level it's ever been at. 14 states have record low unemployment numbers. After 8 years of President Obama, 13 million more Americans were on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty. I said that every night. Do you think this is going to change? Because the Democrats, every year, every election year, they play the race card. Republicans don't want to count you in the census. The James Byrd ad, and so on and so forth. Do you think this changes? Is there a cultural shift based on results coming?
100% there's going to be a cultural shift. And you mentioned the Black Caucus, which stood for more food stamps when Obama announced it, but sat when Trump announced black unemployment. That is disgusting, okay? And that is because they work for leftists. It has been infected. It is a swamp. And I'm telling you right now, we are on the brink of an ideological revolution, and the black community is going to start waking up. And I'm so happy that I get to play a part in this.
I got to tell you, I admire you so much. You are a force of light and a star, and I am going to really enjoy watching your career trajectory just soar. And I wish you all God's grace and success in the future. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you, Kanye, for what he did for you too.
Thank you so much.
Kanye West caused a stir this weekend by tweeting praise of black conservative Candace Owens. The vicious smears that followed from leftists proved his point. The thought police want to suppress freedom. Writer Torre condemned West for liking someone with, quote, anti-black positions, a cowardly jab at Ms. Owens for daring to speak up. Joy Reid mocked those lauding Kanye's bravery, revealing her own bitter jealousy of Owens' fearlessness. Yeah, Tom Arnold. He unleashed a sexist attack on Candace. If he were a conservative, he'd be frog marched into the sea. We can't even show you that tweet. Here's Candace on Fox and Friends discussing the vitriol.
Well, I think it's pretty typical of the left. The truth is that the left wants to strap black people to this idea that they are victims. That's what it comes down to. They do not want black people focused on their futures. They want black people focused on their past. They like black people to be government dependent. They don't like to see black people that are free thinkers and independent. And I think that's what Kanye West and myself represents the black community, and that makes them very nervous.
So these attacks on her prove that what Kanye did was a big deal. He challenged the mob. He knew that tweet would attract the pitchforks, but he did it anyway. West sacrificed himself to the mob to show that it's possible and inspirational. As for the attacks, the goal is to stigmatize, because smears always shut down debate. And West must be punished too for the strategies to ruin everyone by connection. If you like Candace, you're worse than Candace, when in reality both transcend the orbit that their critics still live in. Kanye's extra dangerous to the left. For blacks leaning right, he's confirmatory. They got to shut him down. And he didn't even endorse Candace's beliefs, just her guts. In attacking him, they're attacking the very concept of free speech. Because there's nothing scarier to a leftist than a free thinker. West is one, so is Owens. The network should hire her. So, Katie, I want to read you a couple of Kanye's tweets.
Which I probably retweeted a few of them.
Self-victimization is a disease. Demonization has metastasized. We have freedom of speech, but not freedom of thought. To paraphrase the whole Matrix thing, I think he's taking the red pill, right?
Yeah, I think maybe is what has happened here.
Yes.
But when he says, I like how Candace Owens thinks,
yes.
The way the left has responded to this with the thought police and the aggressive nature of what they've been saying, you're a terrible person, I can't believe you do this, you're a traitor, horrible threats, quite frankly, against Candace Owens for what she said, they're proving his point. They're proving exactly what he's saying about the fact that there's no diversity of thought, that we can't have a diversity of opinion, that people can't be who they are. And the problem for the left is when people like Candace Owens speak out, they debunk the narrative that you have to be all about identity politics, that Republicans hate you because you have a certain color of skin, that they don't like you because you're a woman. So she is a threat to them, and clearly she's getting a lot of attention, which is a very good thing.
Kimberly, he also just tweeted a ton of my hero, Scott Adams videos. So it's kind of all coming together, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yes.
For you.
For me. I'm in the hole of the
Yeah. Don't be a weatherman.
There's the whole.
The AccuWeather Center just crashed. Now, let me tell you something. I really like Candace Owens. I think she's fantastic. Speaking with her at the Young Women's Leadership Summit in Dallas in June. I think you have to be fearless. As a Latina Hispanic woman myself, people try to criticize me. They say, "Why are you so conservative? What's wrong with you? Can't you think for yourself, etc." And these are my thoughts. These are my opinions. These are my beliefs based on my life experience. And I think it's so courageous when you're able to come forward and step up and say what you think and what you mean, especially in the minority community where people want to prejudge you, categorize you, label you, put you in a certain category and say, this is how you should think, this is how you should feel, this is how you should vote, this is where you should put your money, et cetera, based on perhaps what they think is their prejudged determination of where you belong, essentially like in a box. They want to put people in categories and boxes instead of allowing them to be individuals and expressive. And it's extra when, you know, you're a woman and sticking up for these, let alone, you know, a minority or a Latina or a Black female in America.
You know, to her point, Kimberly's point, Juan, don't you think that there's like, we've been for many years in this prison of two ideas, where it's left or right, Republican, Democrat, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, that these are examples of people stepping out of that polarity and saying, I don't have to be that way. Shouldn't we be encouraging that more?
You may have mixed feelings about Milo Yiannopoulos, many people do, but if you're on the left, you really hate it. You've never hated anybody for some reason as much as Milo Yiannopoulos. And the effect is Milo Yiannopoulos can't even go to a bar without getting driven out by screaming people. It happened over the weekend. He went to a restaurant in Manhattan, but a crowd associated with the Democratic Socialists of America, most of whom seem like rich kids, gathered around him to chant, quote, Nazi scum, get out. Watch.
Nazi scum, get out! 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 Nazi scum, get out!
I wonder how many of those Democratic Socialists have their own student loans. Probably none. That would be my guess. Anyway, they claim that the Nazi label is justified because some of Milo's supporters once
Edwards. Let's put it on. Put it on. The last suit you'll ever wear. No. That is not gonna work. Teammates are a part of it now. I don't have teammates. I got low bobs. Know when the whistle go.
Attention please. This video was made thanks to our boys game lead. They will get you out of the trenches. Show them love.
To hop into game number 1 of our final series here for game 3. Nice, making his move forward. He's got that whirling jet. One more hit to do it. Close. There it is. First spot for Bendrihem. They're dropping everything they have. The universe has a drop. He gets the time on the way. 1K on his offering used, and melee rank will fall. Now, side. Everybody coming back in for me. With the booster travel level 2. They're going out the universe. He's dead. 2 minutes on the clock. Jamil is so they need to escape with Jamil. He can't take the ball. Down for 2 minutes. He's before he's to apply that. What are they looking for? He needs to get comes out on a fear. Repressor activated by Old 11. Now going to give a chance for a second final roar. He's going to get pulled up inside the chronosphere. He's down and out. Evil Genius is still 5 up. So here comes 10 on these blacks. Bouncing around the tap. He's hoping to be able to go on the side. But oh my God! The man just failed up. He still managed to get himself playing the back right. His faceless point going the back. He's there. He's now going to go for the deactivated. And now he's going to run up away. Universe says he's back. Like it. I got a shot at all. He's Evil Geniuses are holding. Oh my God, they know he's going for the all-out second. He's back inside the Radiant space. He's already taken down one of the tier 4s, and he's trying to get PPD, but Evil Genius is full power collected. They're holding this event here. And that's only the Warlock. It's only Mega Prince and Warlock who could defend him. Evil Geniuses. Have they just done it? They can't end this game yet. They're going to try, though. They're going to try for the Prince's travel. And it's a high rank here. The All Universe, they know this is the end game scenario. 60 seconds without this jug. Evil, can they hold EG? Confident they can. Here's the near board. BT not easy. It's the double. They go down the pit here. No chaotic up. He'll take them out. Evil. They realize that he's here for the throw. Foot down. The road. Down to how many days. Game 1. It's over. Evil Geniuses. The impossible comeback. Impossible by EG. I can safely say I've never seen something like that. EG held up for so long. They know this is the end game scenario. 60 seconds without this jug. Evil, can they hold EG? Confident they can. Here's the near board. BT not easy. It's the double. They go down the pit here. No chaotic offering. He'll take them out. Evil. They realize that he's here for the throw. Foot down. The road. Down to how many days. Game 1. It's over. Evil Geniuses. The impossible comeback. Impossible by EG. I can safely say I've never seen something like that. EG held up for so long. No buybacks available, but with 3 zeros and all takeouts, they managed to hold their base. Wow!
This video was made thanks to our Boys Game League. They will get you out of the trenches. Show them love.
To hop into game number 1 of our final series here for game 3. Nice, making his move forward. He's got that whirling jet. One more hit to do it. Whoa, there it is. First blood for Bendrihem. They're dropping everything they have. The universe has a drop gun, and he gets the time walk away. One chaotic offering used a melee effect will fall. Now eyesight. Everybody coming back in for me. The fly back with a booster travel level still going up. The universe is dead. 2 minutes on the clock. Jamel is so need to escape with Jamel. He can't make it go. For 2 minutes, he's forced into a fly back. What are they looking for? He needs the atmosphere. Refresher activated by Old 11. Not going to give a chance for a second. Primal Roar. He's going to get rolled up inside the corner sphere. He's down and out. Evil Geniuses still 5 up. But here comes that Omni Flash. Bouncing around the Death Beam. Hoping to be able to go on his own. Oh my God! The man failed him, but he still managed to get himself put in the back fight. The faceless point on the back. He's down there. He's now going to go for the deactivated. And now he's going to run himself away. Universe says he's back on. He's might be able to do this. Evil Geniuses are holding. Oh my God, he holds. They know he's going for the all-in second. He's back inside the Radiant space. He's already taken down one of the tier 4s, and he's trying to get PPD, but Evil Genius is full call reflected. They're holding this event here again. They go here. One fight back, and that's only the Warlock. It's only Maiden Prince and Warlock who could defend this. Evil Geniuses. And they just got it. They can't end this game yet. They're going to try, though. They're going to try for the Wizards battle, and it's a mind race here. They know this is the end game scenario. 60 seconds with this game yet. They're going to try, though. They're going to try for the Wizards battle, and it's a mind race here. They know this is the end game scenario. 60 seconds without this jump. Evil, can they hold EG? Confident they can. Here's the tier 4 being beaten on it. He gets the jump forward. They're going on the fit here. So chaotic, I'll bring it on. Take him out. Evil. And they're like tracking the tier 4. The throw foot down. The throw down. Game 1. It's over. Evil Geniuses. The impossible comeback. It's possible by EG. I can safely say I've never seen something like that. EG held up for so long. No buybacks available, but with 3 zeros and all pickups, they managed to hold their base. Wow! Showtime! What we do with the broken scale? What we do with the broken scale? What we do with the broken scale? And I'm making the mark and baby. She made us baby. She made us baby. She made us like the
We're all in the same boat. We're all in.
Konnichiwa, stream. 俺はムハンマド
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar. Someone on the house. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota. That's more like it. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota. Absolut choice. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer och skikar och motståndet vi slipar. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och skipar och motståndet vi slipar. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och skipar och motståndet vi slipar.
Narwhals swimming in the ocean, causing a commotion, cause they are so awesome. Narwhals swimming in the ocean, pretty big and pretty wide, and beat a polar bear in a fight. Like an underwater unicorn, they gotta kick our spatial harm. They're the Jedi on the sea, not a fool we Narwhals, they are narwhals.
Here we go. That's all there is to it.
Everybody now, here we go. It's a brand new version of the nose note. Just stomp your feet and clap your hands. Come on, everybody, it's a hand stand. Bounce in time to the beat. Hey, you don't even have to move. Just shake your thing, let me see you groove. Now spin around and feel the groove.
Let's try We're getting on.
Well, Scotsman clad in kill fled for one evening fair. One couldn't tell by how he walked that he drunk more than his share. He fumbled round until he could no longer keep his feet, and he stumbled off into the grass to sleep beside the street. Ring ding little I-O, ring I-O. He stumbled off into the grass to sleep beside the street. About that time, two young and lovely girls just happened by. One says to the other with a twinkle,
what will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? And the night in the morning, baby, she plays baby, she plays baby, she plays at the night in the
Yo, listen up.
What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? And the night in the morning, baby, she plays baby, she plays baby, she plays at the night in the What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way up she rises way, hey, up she rises way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. Shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises way, hey, up she rises way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. We'll put him in a longboat till he's sober, put him in a longboat till he's sober, put him in a longboat till he's sober early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises way, hey, up she rises way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. Stick him in the scupper with a hose pipe on him. Stick him in the scupper with a hose pipe on him. Stick him in the scupper with a hose pipe on him early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. That's what we do with the drunken sailor. That's what we do with the drunken sailor. That's what we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises early in the morning.
So this.
Oh, I'm late. What am I gonna choose? A Charmander? A Bulbasaur? How about a Squirtle? Yeah, Squirtle. Ash, wait. Wait, what? Your father came to visit. Say hello. I'm gonna go now. Does he still think I'm a Mr. Mime? He still thinks you're a Mr. Mime.
Oh, it's Ash. Ash from Pallet Town.
Professor, do you have any Pokemon left?
Well, I have this Bulbasaur.
Nah, I don't know.
I also have this Pikachu, but he's kind of a dipshit.
Well, that sounds fine to me. I'll take it. Huh? Wait, is that me? Yes, I'm you from the future. And I've come here to tell you. Just kiss Serena already, you fucking baby. Jesus. Hello? Oh, thank God. I come from the future. Just tell them not to make sonic forces. It's shit. Who's Serena? Man, that was so weird what just happened. But anyways, now that you're my Pokemon, we gotta start training you immediately. Oh, it's just a Spearow. This will be easy. Oh no, there's too many. Pikachu, watch out! Cute, Pikachu. Well, Butterfree, I guess this is it. I have to let you go now since we're in a new region and all. Wait, for one, we're only in the next town.
Let's go.
And for two, I've only known you for an hour and I'm already your strongest Pokemon. It doesn't matter. You need to be in the wild. That's where you belong. Then why'd you catch me? Because Pikachu is an asshole and I was tired of his shit. Anyways, I'm releasing you now. No, wait, no! Bye, Butterfree. You know, Pikachu, you gotta start respecting me here soon, so I'm gonna show you how strong I really am. I challenge you, Gym Leader. Okay, all I have to do now is believe in the heart of the cards. I place one card face down and end my turn. Wait, wrong game, Ash. What? You sound like Kaiba. What are you talking about? Yugi. I mean Ash. See? You are Kaiba. Okay, you caught me. Here, if you don't tell anybody, I'll give you this badge. Yeah, after I defeat you with my blue-eyes white dragon. Now attack his life points directly. Praise the almighty Helix. Hey, are you okay? Yeah, what's up, man? What's going on? Not much. I'm just gonna take one of these and be on my way. Hold on, right there. I am double, and she is treble. You f***ed it up again, James. Yeah, nice going. I'm sorry, I got nervous. What is this? I don't know, man. Just spam A and they'll probably go away. Prepare to protect the not all just rocket black. How much do they say? Me, Alf. That's wait. What just happened? Oh, be quiet, Wobbuffets. Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off. Uh-oh. Man, that guy back there was pretty creepy, but I'm glad we're finally out of that cave. Huh? Hey there, little fella. Do you want to join my team? Awesome.
On the road to the big city.
You Ash. What just happened?
Ash, your dad is Mr. Mind. Shut up.
Will you stop calling me? I'm about to do a gym battle.
Ash, your dad is Mr. Mind. Shut up.
Will you stop calling me? I'm about to do a gym battle.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pokemon League Finals here at Shaman Square Garden. Welcome to ES4N. I'm Joey, and with me today is Greg Swoobat Johnson.
Swoobat! It's great to be here, Joey. Another great day at Shaman Square Garden. I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got lined up here at the highest level of competitive play.
Oh, so am I, Greg. So am I. Now, why don't we take a look at our challengers today? On the left, we have Pokemon Trainer Red. And let's take a look at his team analysis. He's got a Charizard, a Venusaur, a Blastoise, a Lapras, a Metapod, and a Snorlax. What do you think about that, Greg?
That's a great team. Now you can see he crafted that team with love, with care, with precision, with auto-tune, with everything he's got in his arsenal. And you go through this team. You see the Charizard. That's heat. You see the Snorlax. That's heat. You see the Blastoise. That's heat.
I couldn't agree with you more, Greg. Very good analysis. Now let's take a look at Gold's team. Gold is the trainer on the right side. His team is as follows. He's got a Typhlosion, a Meganium, a Shiny Gyarados, a Metapod, a Feraligatr, and a Sudowoodo. Very interesting team here.
Yeah, it's a great team too. Now you look at this team and you see he's got all types of different Pokemon. He's got the essentials. He's got the grass type, the fire type, the water type. He's got the other grass type, the other water type. He's got them all. And the Gyarados, as you know, he got that in the Lake of Rage. And That's one of my favorite places to train, favorite places to meet, favorite places to vacation, favorite places to train.
Oh, yeah, Greg. I know anything about you. You're quite a man of rage, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I go to that lake of rage, I go head first into the water and feet first in the sand, and I start training away.
Oh, now it looks like there's some heated discussion going on down there between the trainers. I wonder what they're talking about.
So, we meet again.
Yes, we do meet again.
That's right. We are meeting again.
Here we are, meeting again.
We have met before. This is not the first time.
We've been before, so this time is not the first time we're meeting.
I don't know what they're saying, but you can tell it's a very intense choice of words they're using.
Now, it looks like the trainers are getting ready to actually battle. They're deciding what Pokemon to bring out first. Now, that's, as we all know, a very important decision. Isn't that right, Greg?
Absolutely. Now, the first thing you want to do when you're heading to a Pokemon battle is pick the first Pokemon you're going to bring out in that battle.
Now, let's take a look over here. Oh, he's getting ready for his first Pokemon. He's brought a Metapod.
That's totally unexpected. He's got a lot of choices here. He went with the Metapod first. You wonder what's going on here, what he's got in his head.
Now, let's go over to the red side of the field. You got to wonder, what's he thinking about right now?
Now, he sees a Metapod on the field, and the obvious choice is he's going to want to go with Charizard. Oh, he brings out Charizard, works that Metapod right up to that, and he's pretty wherever he wants up to that. And it really shows the highest level of his play.
And it looks like Red's going to bring out, he's bringing out a Metapod as well.
Oh, this is really unexpected here. Now, it's a classic mistake, though. You see Metapod on the other side of the field, you think, I got a Metapod of my own. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out. That's a classic mistake. Pokemon versus the same Pokemon, always going to end badly. That's not how Greg likes to do things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Greg. Now, we got two Pokemon on both sides of the field here. I think the battle's about to start soon. We've got Gold ready to cast out his first move. Oh, my Lord, and he's using a Harden.
Now this is the classic Metapod signature move. It's going to start off with that Harden. It's going to be really effective against everything else. It's going to harden up. That way it's increasing its hardening potential right off the bat.
Right off the bat, indeed. Now we go over to Red. Let's see what he's going to counter with. Oh, and he's countering with a Harden as well.
Oh, now this is where the twist comes in, because you think if he's going to go for a Harden, I'm going to go ahead and counter him with something else. But he probably did not see the first Harden coming, so he thought, well, I'm going to get him off guard, go for my own Harden. But boom, they both went for Harden.
I mean, we're looking at the two best trainers.
Go for my own Harden. But boom, they both went for Harden.
I mean, we're looking at the two best trainers in the league right now, so predictability is out the window. Who knows what's going to happen next? We go over to find out that Harden. He casts another Harden.
Whoa, swoon, man. He goes right for the Harden, getting right in there, getting harder, getting much harder.
Much harder indeed. And right over here, what's he going to
use? Harden.
Another Harden. That's two Hardens on both sides.
Oh, another Harden really hits you right there. You see this level of the highest level of competitive play, and you wonder how much can they harden. You just wonder what's going on right now. What's the strategy here? Because you just can't see it, but you can feel it.
Oh yeah, you can definitely feel the tensity in the air right now. Is this another Harden on Gold's side? Wow, I didn't even know that Metapod knew Chinese. Did you, Greg?
Chinese. Oh, I thought I was having a stroke.
Now we got Red over here. And we got another Harden on the red side. These Hardens are coming out quick. They know what they're doing.
Rapid fire Harden, just like I like it. We haven't seen anything like this.
Now we got Gold going for his fourth move, and he's going for a fourth Harden. I could not have seen this coming, even if you told me it was happening.
Oh man, right in there again. Now, before I would have said they were really being unpredictable, but now I'm seeing the pattern here.
Okay, but let's see. Red has been matching him pretty hard, countering pretty hard, but let's see what he got up his sleeve this time.
Harden.
And it's another Harden. It's another Harden, folks.
Oh, boy. Now this Harden right here, you can really start to feel the audience hardening at Fox.
Oh, and so am I there, Greg. So am I. And we're looking over here at Gold again. He's
another Harden.
Is this a fifth Harden? Am I going crazy? Am I going insane? And over here on red side, Harden. Oh my God, that's a fifth Harden on red side too. I must be an insane lunatic. They're gonna lock me up in a mental ward.
Let me tell you, you do not want to go there. You miss the sun after a while. But yeah, there's a timeout going on the field now. We got a fight call. We're going to take a little break here. We can take that moment. We're going to go over some of the plays we've seen so far. If you want to pull up the graph here, Now, here we go, the Metapod. Go for the first harden. You see this layer right around the Metapod's edge right here? That's the first harden going into effect. You see that, Joey?
Oh, yeah. That's very interesting.
Now once you go to second harden, it actually hardens on near the inside. Second layer goes in, third layer goes in, fourth layer goes in, and now you got to harden all the way from the inside out. You got that, Bob? Now, all the harden, once you put them together, you realize the whole Metapod, now just one big harden. How's it going to play out? I have no idea. Never seen this level of harden before.
Yep, can't get any harder than that. One can only imagine what those Metapods are thinking about.
I'm so f***ing hard right now.
Not as hard as me.
Wait, what the f***?
Can't go any harder, isn't that right?
Absolutely. Does not work. You harden 6 times, you're done.
You are exactly correct, Greg. Now, it looks like we're back into the battle. So keeping all that in mind, trainer.
Metapod, harden!
Oh my God! We're not even waiting for turns. Both of them go hard on unison together.
Now you see here, both Pokemon have reached the 6th level of harden. They're fully hard. I haven't seen anything quite like this since the Magikarp Sleep of 82, or when I got out of bed this morning.
Oh, neither have I, Greg. Neither have I. This is amazing. But at this point, you got to ask yourself, what could possibly go down on this battlefield now? No more hardens are available. They're both at their maximum defense.
That's really the limit right now.
Okay, now, Metapod, take all your hardens and turn it to a Hyper Blast.
What is that? I've never seen that in my life. What do you call that, Greg?
Oh, what you're seeing here, this Metapod's gone beyond the harden. What he's done is harden himself into a sphere that's going to shoot through the harden on the other side.
Now it looks like Red is really at the end of his game here. Gold has got quite the upper hand.
Too bad he's got him on the ropes. It looks like this could be it.
I didn't even try. Gold's got the high ground.
It's over, Red. I have the high ground.
Now,
I think
take all those hardens and turn it into another harden.
My God! What's happening on Red's side of the field? What is that, Greg? I'm scared.
It's the 7th harden. The 7th harden is a Pokemon attack that no one has ever seen. Tales of its power have been passed down from generation to generation, from millennia to millennia, from trainer to trainer. Its power is said to be so great that it releases an energy that goes beyond time, space, and all sense of reason. It is the very height of Metapod's true potential, and it's the highest level of competitive play.
This.
Well, that was an incredible battle this evening. Now, up next on ESPN, we're going to see what the fastest thing in the world is.
Sonic or this bullet? Well, he's dead.
Alright, Giratina, let's try our hardest to win.
I trust your judgment, and I hope we shall win as well.
Okay, Sunflora, let's do this. Yes, and once we win, we shall bathe the blood of our enemies as we watch them suffer.
Are you okay over there? Yeah, sorry, I was just coughing. I'm ready.
What is going on, guys? This is Dog. Now that I'm Pokemon Champion, nothing can get in my way. Oh, a challenger. Let's go, Ho-Oh. Use Sacred Fire.
Fist.
What is
going on, guys? This is Dobbs here, bringing you another Pokemon video. And in this video, I'm going to go over 51 of the trolliest things in Pokemon. And just to make it more interesting, I hit 3 Master Balls in this video. And if you find them all, well, you're a badass. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's get started. Mindy from Pokemon Diamond, trading you a Haunter with an Everstone. Using Metronome and getting Explosion. Zoroark disguised as a shiny. Zubats and Ks when you run out of max repels.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Trying to catch a legendary Pokemon. This guy.
Identify this Pokemon.
It's a Voltorb.
It's a Pokeball.
It's an Electrode.
The answer is a Jigglypuff seen from above.
Finding a Minun in a horde of Plusle.
Yes! Oh my God! Oh my God, we got it! We got it!
Getting a raised candy bar and not a rare candy.
Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate!
Togekiss with the ability Serene Grace.
Nope.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Fuck! The old man not seeing Mirage Island. All you getting is shiny Ralts. Oh my God! I got a shiny!
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Encountering a wild Pokemon on the last patch of grass. Just a few steps more. Oh, come on! The fact that Double Slap can land more than 2 times. A shiny Electrode. Oh my God, my first shiny Pokemon ever. Finally, this is my This Ditto.
Transform into this.
This Ditto.
Transform into this.
The fact that Professor Juniper can have a shiny Machino. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. This is a shiny Machino, a Pokemon that you'll never get. So anyways, blah, 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 blah. A one-hit knockout move actually landing.
Wow! That was brutal!
Not being able to escape a wild Pokemon. It's just a Magikarp. Wait, what?
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
The guy who teaches you how to catch Pokemon. Alright, now this is how you catch a Oh my God, it's a shiny! Sorry, kid. The fact that Zangief and Viper are in the same egg group. I hate you. I hate you too. Let's make babies. Legendary Pokemon with a stupid name. Oh my God, it's a Deoxys. Oh, there's a note here. Dear trainer, take good care of my farts dicks, XD. Love, Dave. The fact that Marowak learns a signature move at level 27, but Cubone doesn't even evolve until level 28.
Ah! Got him!
Finding a rare Pokemon in the Safari Zone. Alright, now, do I throw a rock or give it some bait? Or do I go for the catch? Ooh. Yo, dude. I'm totally gonna run no matter what he does. Scrub. The credits after Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Two hours later.
Lieutenant Surge's gym. Hey Clarence, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a Pokemon gym with trash cans and let trainers suffer. Metapod in Viridian Forest. I'm so excited to embark my first Pokemon journey. Oh, it's a Metapod. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Wait, what?
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
These Behemoth in the anime.
Well, if you mean us, why didn't it have any effect?
I'm afraid idiots are hard to hypnotize.
Accidentally knocking out a shiny Pokemon. Alright, Scyther, use Cut. Oh my God, it's a critical hit. Jigglypuff in Super Smash Brothers. Oh man, I'm getting tired. Oh shit, watch out! The Elite Four using a Forest Sword. Oh, my Pokemon is low on health. Wouldn't it be ashamed if I don't know, used a full restore? The fact that Team Rocket interrupts every episode.
Prepare for trouble.
Hey, no, not here. Sorry about that. Rotating trainers. Wait, do you hear that? Oh no, hey! I was just spinning in circles for no reason and noticed we made eye contact. Let's do this. Come on. Koga from Pokemon Stadium. They said I could be anything, so I became a shithead. Venomoth, use double team. Venomoth, use double team again. Venomoth, listen to me. Use double team. The move, Sucker Punch. Just one more hit and I'll win this battle. Let's go, Tauros. Use takedown.
Gotcha, bitch.
Ah, the stings.
The bike salesman in Pokemon Red and Blue. Hey, Tim, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up a bike shop and sell bikes for millions of dollars. Tom, you're a fucking genius. A paralyzed Pokemon not getting paralyzed. Alright, Dragonite, use Hyper Beam. Oh no, your Pokemon is paralyzed. 6 Magikarps. Hey, excuse me, do you have a fishing rod that I can borrow? I don't, but do you want to battle the 6 Magikarp that I just got? No? Too bad. Ash's strategy in the anime. Okay, Pikachu, use Thunder on Swellow. Wait, what? Alright, now that my Swellow has Thunder Armor, he has transcended into Super Saiyan. The trainer with the shiny execute in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Oh, that was a great battle. And since you beat me, here, take this. Oh my god, that's a shiny execute. Oh. Nuggets. Your mom in the Duration 2 games. Hey, Gold, you know all that money that you gave me? Well, funny story. It's gone. Whitney's milk tank. Quilava, use headbutt. Ah, that's cute. Evolutionary stones. Hey, Tokete, catch. What is it? Oh no. Fuck, man, my arms. The fact that Ash Greninja lost to Mega Charizard X. Interacting with your Pokemon in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Hey, come here, Groudon. Pokédex entries. Oh, it says here that Dairy Malcolm's droppings are hot, so people used to use them for their clothes to keep themselves warm. It's kind of cold out here. Oh, yeah. Accidentally falling off a ledge. Alright, we're almost at the end of the cave. Just a few more steps and... Fuck! The Battle Frontier in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Oh, it's coming soon. I can't wait. Any minute now. The GTS in Pokemon. Oh man, all I need now is a Feebas to complete my Pokédex. Oh, this guy has a Feebas. Offer, Feebas. 1. Level 100 Shiny Rayquaza. Pokemon who evolve only through trade. Alright, I'll trade my Kadabra for your Scyther. Deal. Oh my god, it evolved. I guess it didn't like you or something. Wait, what? Professor Oak from the Pokemon games. So remember now, don't run your back into... Wait, is that your mom? Yeah? You know what? Here, take this Pokédex to catch every fucking Pokemon in the world. And finally, a Route 1 Pidgey. Hey, I see you're a new Pokemon trainer. Let me welcome you to the Pokemon world with Sand Attack. And there you go. 51 of the trolliest things in Pokemon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like if you did. I appreciate it a ton. And also, if you're enjoying the channel, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to follow me on Twitter for fan interactions, video updates, and other cool stuff.
Right.
The amazing fact checkers at the Banana News Network have discovered that President Trump has been engaging in some grossly negligent behavior that's putting all 7 billion people on planet Earth at risk of certain doom. Let's tune in to these experts, see what's going on.
So, since this show is called Reliable Sources, let's talk about some of the administration's sloppiness and why this matters. Accuracy is part of the job for doctors, for engineers, for reporters, for lots of people. Every time I make a mistake or have to run a correction, I am mortified. But it doesn't seem to be true for the White House. The president's spelling mistakes are infamous at this point. There's a couple from the past couple days here. Shady, Comey, misspelled on Twitter. All of these examples of the errors that he shares on Twitter. And I think it trickles down to the staff as well.
It looks like it's all over for you now, Mr. President. Even though Robert Mueller's team couldn't find any evidence of anything over the last year, looks like the grammar police have busted you red-handed, posting some things on Twitter without having some of your staff double-check them. Minor grammar or spelling mistakes. Look at this. Here's another one where he didn't notice that the letter T and the word the register on his phone when he was typing this tweet. Somebody call Maxine Waters and have her prepare the impeachment proceedings. Thankfully, CNN has been dedicating some of their enormous international resources to this growing scandal. Tell us more.
I know this is not the most important issue in the world, but I do think it's important because it speaks to, if you can't get the small stuff right, can you get the big stuff right, like a North Korea summit?
Wait a minute, let me get this straight. Brian, you're suggesting that because the president's had a couple of minor misspellings in some quickly typed tweets, that he's not qualified or capable of engaging in the peace talks between North and South Korea. I was just about to sign the peace treaty between the United States and North Korea when I noticed that President Trump had some misspelled tweets about an unrelated matter. So the deal is off. As one of the analysts, John Avlon, is literally laughing at Brian.
Do you agree? Does this matter? Does this matter at all?
I mean, I think it's more of a reflection of the way this White House operates, which, among other things, is seat of the pants fashion. And, you know, we all know from running news organizations and being part of news organizations that you make the most errors when you're flying off on deadline or you know, there's not an orderly process. And I think that's really more what this is an indication of than a
critical national issue around spelling.
Yeah, it's not number one, but does it matter, John?
This guy deserves an award for being able to fill 30 seconds of airtime with an answer that doesn't include him busting out laughing. CNN's panels are literally like a high school drama class exercise, where the students have to pick a random and unknown topic out of a hat and then act it out and try to convince the rest of the class that they know what they're talking about. Let's see how the next actor does. John Avalon, it's your turn. In this scene, you have to pretend that Brian Stelter is the host of a real news show, and with a straight face, you have to discuss the national security implications of President Trump's misspellings in his tweets. Go.
Look, tone comes from the top. That's the key thing in any organization. So if the president has an untidy mind, isn't paying attention to details or pesky things like facts, it flows through the organization. And look, while I think we have greater roles and responsibilities than being the grammar police for the presidency, it's worth assuming that the president of the United States should be held to at least the same standard as a cut reporter. If we're letting him off the hook there, I think that's itself a sign of a slippery slope in our standards.
Not bad, John. You held it together pretty well there. I'd give that a B+. Let's go to the next contestant and see if she can do any better.
I actually wonder if this kind of a conversation is exactly the kind of thing his base would mock. That they would maybe see this as
one of the dumbest segments on cable news all year. I wonder if this is the kind of conversation his base would mock. You get an F, lady, and get out of my studio. We don't pay you $6 figures at CNN to expose our news segments as idiotic. The assignment was to take Brian Stelter and CNN's grammar policing serious, and you totally blew it. Okay, enough of the clown news network. Let's see what's happening over at MSHIV. It's been a while since I've tuned in over there. I can't wait to see what I've been missing. Oh, look, it's Actor Sean Penn, who looks like he's playing the role of a bum, except it's the real him. Let's tune in and listen to this celebrity, since they always know what's best.
I often think about this president the way that the audience, meaning the electorate, were at a Batman movie. This is them rooting for the Joker against their own interests and looking to beat Batman down. Well, they go in the movie theater, and while they might enjoy the colorful quality of a performance of a Joker, they want Batman to win. And I think that the transfer from what we want in our real lives and what we want in our fantasy life has become a kind of poisonous counterpoint.
I'm sorry, Mr. Penn, but if you want to see someone who's lost touch with reality, living in a fantasy land, just look in the mirror. For those of us living in reality, we know the cause of this problem. It is the liberal pathogen, which is why we're trying to find a cure. So I hope you'll join the cause. Go to my online store, markdice.com, or click the link in the description below. Get yourself a Liberalism Find a Cure shirt and support this channel. They're available in multiple different colors and styles. Long sleeve t-shirt, hoodie, large graphic, small graphic. Just go check out the store. There's a whole bunch of other shirts there too. Your I appreciate your support. Subscribe here if you do. Check back every day for new reports. I'll see you tomorrow.
After a quick edit and a quick re-render, I think this might be one of the most important videos I've ever done. So please, let me know what you think. And here we are again.
I love me. I love him. I love me. Hey, he's a cycle here. I love me. I love him. I love me. He's a horse and I. He's a horse. Somebody died. I said, hold up. Wait a minute. The same me. This is more. It's not true. I did not hear her. Oh, Lord. Lisa, you take me apart. You know what they say. Love is blind. Let's go eat now. Everything is fine. This is the video that's going in the water.
Wet is an adjective that is only conditional, that's used to describe the surface of something that is typically dry.
I'm saying that something is wet means that the water.
Oh my goodness, oh my damn, oh my goodness, they're going ham. Oh my goodness, oh my damn, oh my goodness, they're going ham. This is how making is supposed to be.
I want to be a role model for those little kids. Well, and that's some dumb shit. I know.
People can see it in many different directions. All we know is there was a gun.
That's dumb.
There was a gun.
That's dumb.
There was a gun.
That's dumb.
Were you robbed? I don't know. All I know is I was a drunk fat boy. One night.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know why. No, I had too much to drink. The entire world had to watch this for the last week. Under that, everyone's still intoxicated. I think so, I over-exaggerated these candidates, these shenanigans. I'm gonna eat you at this and that again.
When you drunk, you can't remember if you're driving. Were you busting on the bush, or were you fighting 100 bad guys? Why? There's no pull over Eli. There was nothing Eli. He left his teammates hanging while he hit Chicago. In the end, now he shouldn't have lied to his mom. His mom. He's a drunk fat boy for one night.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know why. I had too much to drink. The entire world had to watch this for the last week. Under that, everyone's still intoxicated. I think so, I over-exaggerated these antics, these shenanigans. I'm gonna make sure that this never happens again. These antics, these shenanigans. I'm gonna make sure that this never happens.
Thank you for sitting down with me. Were you ever bullied?
No, I wasn't.
Has it happened that somebody has done something to you to wound you?
I try and unwound myself.
I feel like you're trying to get out of bounds.
I go hard. If I was off, I would not have left this hard. I go hard. I go hard. I go hard.
I'm familiar.
Sit down, everybody. Sit down, baby. Sit down. Sit down, sit down, everybody. Sit down, baby. Sit down. 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 If I don't go all the way, if I don't make me look, three ways to entertain. And money. I don't look back. It's like I'm ashamed to do so that I'm not so bad. It's a fact. I get ready. It's only against me. Troubles are retreat. Walking on the tree. I respond to what they did to me. I don't fight back. It's not a little pussy. I go hard. I go hard. If I was soft, I would not have that this hard. I go hard. I go hard. I go hard.
I'm familiar.
Mr. Trump, some have suggested that you refuse to release your tax returns because of your extreme privacy concerning your hobbies.
Yes.
So, can you confirm or deny this list of personal pastimes?
Yeah.
Has done something to you to wound you.
I try and unwound myself.
I feel like you're trying to get out of bounds.
I go hard. I go hard. If I was off, I would not have that this hard. I go hard. I go hard. I go hard.
I'm familiar.
Sit down, everybody. Sit down, baby. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down, everybody. Sit down, baby. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Baby, sit down. Sit down. If I don't go away, if I don't make me look, understand what three ways to entertain. And money. I don't look back. It's like I'm ashamed to do so that I'm not so bad. It's a fact. I get ready. It's only against me. Troubles are retreat. Walking on the tree. I respond to what they did to me. I don't fight back. It's not a little pussy. I go hard. I go hard. If I was soft, I would not have that this hard. I go hard. I go hard. I go hard.
I'm familiar.
Mr. Trump, some have suggested that you refuse to release your tax returns because of your extreme privacy concerning your hobbies.
Yes.
So, can you confirm or deny this list of personal pastimes?
Yeah, I guess so.
Finger buddy,
I go hard.
Minecraft,
I go hard.
podiatry,
I go hard.
hacky sack,
I go hard.
animal,
I go hard.
breeding cats,
I go hard.
CrossFit,
Waste of time.
coloring,
I go hard.
doing Zumba,
I go hard.
water
I
polo,
go hard.
playing tuba, spray tan,
I go hard.
driving
I
Uber,
go hard.
putting together a big prank from IKEA,
Waste of time.
while you're sequencing the entire human genome.
Waste of time.
Privacy,
Waste of time.
warning,
Waste of time.
adenine,
Waste of time.
lightning,
Waste of time.
all the means.
Waste of time.
From your house.
Star Observer, a proudly gay publication, published an article today about a bisexual man who was allegedly abused at the anti-safe schools rally that I ran here live on Facebook. So in this fake news story, they tried to allude to the idea that I'm somehow connected to the one person that called out something not very nice. They said that amongst the group of parents with children were prominent right-wing extremists, Neil Erickson and Abiy Ahmed. How lovely, putting us all together there. But the whole story's fake. And I actually recorded what really went down. So watch and share, because we can't let these fake news media outlets get away with spreading lies to suit their narrative. No, I didn't see anything. I heard you. Send me the video.
Yeah.
So what are you here, Phil? What was your whole shtick here today?
So I was here for two things: to cover the rally and to test them, because I was highly doubtful that if showing a symbol like the rainbow flag, they would remain civil. And I've been proven entirely right, and I've got the video.
So what happened?
Oh, do you want me to show you?
Yes, sir.
Look at this. Okay, so this is
Don't worry, you're right. Sorry, well, I'll get the video uploaded later.
Any sort of reaction against me? Any sort of reaction against me? Hey.
So they could, he's yelling, get down here, you puffed up. And then I just fucking run. I just bolt. Okay, it's words. There's a whole mob there, mate. Do you really, truly believe anyone there was going to get violent?
It was a possibility.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think anyone has the. Yeah, we're all good.
There was someone down there who tried to incite a violent reaction against me. I've got it on video. Do you want to see it? I tried to.
So I watch it. I'm with you, and I don't think violence is ever good. It's never excusable. Anybody at home watching this, don't ever get violent against someone with a differing opinion. In fact, that's what we see from radical left.
Especially as of 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks, I guess, when Admiral AdSense, excuse me, one of the ad agencies took a great deal of money from one of our fellow patriots, and really one of the pioneers in our modern alternative news campaigns, and that is Alexander.
In 1997, Ronald and Natalie Tricos made the decision to adopt a child. The Canadian couple found themselves in arid Romania, where they hoped to find the perfect addition for their family. When they saw this one-year-old girl, they knew she was the one. Her name was Rodica Lavinia Farkas, and she was living in an orphanage where she'd been left by her mother, who couldn't care for her. She was also in shockingly poor health. That much was evident to Ron and Natalie as soon as they met her. The sweet little girl was malnourished, which had caused a host of other issues. She was suffering from rickets, and her bones were weak, thanks to a severe lack of vitamin D and other nutrients. Still, there was more the couple had yet to discover. In the 1990s, records of children in Romania were notoriously difficult to obtain. So Ron and Natalie were in a bit of a bind when it came to getting a hold of everything they would need in the future for Rodica. Due to the difficulty of obtaining her records, Ron and Natalie were at a bit of a loss when it came to understanding their new daughter's life to that point. This was especially true when it came to her family history. As Ron and Natalie continued to search for more information about their new baby girl, they eventually came upon a shocking discovery. Rodica wasn't an only child. In fact, she had an older sister. Only they weren't sure where this sister was. For unknown reasons, the sisters had been placed in separate orphanages. This made locating Rodica's older sister far more difficult. Still, Ron and Natalie knew they had to try. Following an exhaustive search, they discovered where Rodica's sister was being cared for. Not only that, but they learned her name was Giannina Farkas. Giannina was born in 1995, making her a year older than Rodica. Once Ron and Natalie discovered where she was living, they made a serious decision. They were going to adopt her as well and reunite her with her younger sister. Finally, they made it so, but that wasn't all. After Ron and Natalie arrived back in Canada, the surprises just kept coming. As it turned out, Rodica and Giannina weren't the only two children in their family. They were simply 2 of 8. Unfortunately, Ron and Natalie were unable to track down any of the other siblings. Not long after they were brought home, Giannina and Rodica were renamed Sophie and Danielle, respectively. Ron and Natalie decided to keep the girls' birth names as their middle names so they could retain a piece of where they came from. It was a small gesture, but it was important for their baby girls to not lose their identities. The tumultuous start to Sophie and Danielle's lives was not unusual in 1990s Romania. The country was then under the control of a dictator named Nicolae Ceausescu, who forbade any form of contraception whatsoever. This resulted in countless cases similar to that of Sophie and Danielle. Many of the parents in Romania at the time were forced to give up children who they could no longer care for. The luckiest ones would end up being adopted by other families who would support them, just like Sophie and Danielle. A good bit of footage exists of these two girls. 6 years after they were adopted, a documentary filmmaker showed interest in telling their story. With Ron and Natalie's approval, the girls' journey from Arid to Canada was made into a film. Years later, Sophie actually edited the full documentary into a short film, which she uploaded to the film to reach more people, including a number of people with similar backgrounds to Sophie and Danielle. For her part, Danielle says she hopes to return to her home country, hopefully sometime in 2018. I would go back to explore the country, she said. Both sisters would, understandably, love to learn more about their biological parents and siblings. Unfortunately, that's easier said than done, as poor documentation will make it very difficult to locate them. Sophie, now 22, is studying to be a photographer, and Danielle, 21, is also in college. They live close by and often think about how far they've come. Not everyone was as lucky as they were. Had Ron and Natalie Tricos never gone to Romania, they might have never located Sophie, and the sisters wouldn't have been reunited. Luckily, they did, and the rest is history. It must have come as quite the surprise for the Tricoses to go to Romania looking for one child and ending up with two. Sometimes life is funny like that. Thankfully, it all turned out well for everyone. Share this incredible reunion story with your friends.
This is David Hogg. Yes, the David Hogg who did this.
Is not cutting it.
And this.
Bully is a bully, and it's important that you stand up to them.
And this and this. This is David Hogg's Reddit account. Because of this linked video. If the giant watermark wasn't enough for you. Yep, that is definitely David Hogg. Well, we might as well get started. Hit it. Lifeguard goes on massive power trip on 17-year-old and the kid's response is hilarious. Yeah. But who owns the copyright for this video? David Hogg me. What are some personal experiences you consider to be really funny? Getting rejected all the time, and laughing it off. What is something you could not master in 10,000 hours? Women. What is something you want to accomplish before you die? Get a girlfriend. What activity are you so bad at that you don't even attempt it anymore? Asking girls out. Is it worth having a girlfriend senior year of high school, or not? Or not? What is the loneliest thing you've ever done? I often play tennis by myself. What's been in your family for generations? Alcoholism and autism. 80. Female. Feel free to rate and roast. 7.5 out of 10. Just smile more. Your cots are good and you're in perfect shape. What piece of advice did you not follow, but which you did? No bitch. Why should we be accepting of fat people? Because many poor people can afford to eat healthy, because processed foods tend to be much cheaper. Can't afford. What's the worst type of person? to have sitting next to you on a long-haul plane flight? A person so fat that they spill over into your seat. Why do you drink coffee? Taste. I love black coffee. It reminds me of how life is suffering and you have to live with it. Decaf coffee drinkers without health reasons. Why? What's with my Adderall? What are two things that are great on their own, but really bad when put together? Dogs and Gina. What are you sick of? Politics and news. What's something that has stayed relevant over the years? Complaining. Flamethrower. I still can't believe these were used by the US military in Vietnam. Why is it easy to hate people and love them? Because if you hated everyone around you, you would never be hurt by them. What is a positive reason for mosquitoes to exist? They kill humans, billions of them, which is great for the environment. But wait, there's more. Ahead. I moved in the middle of freshman year in high school, and have 3 friends out here. 90% of people at my high school are liars that cannot be trusted, and only
I'm not afraid. Damn, it's really bright up here. I guess I should have brought some sunglasses if I knew we were shooting a video. Now some of you out there might be up on your roof talking to yourself too. But you ain't famous rappers, so no one cares. Now if you excuse me, I'm going downstairs. You can try and throw away my lyric sheets before I can read them. Ha! Too bad I got them memorized, I don't even need them. Yeah, I still got homophobic lines, but you can't get upset cause that bag Elton John and I once did a duet. To my fans, I apologize for ruining your life. I'll get back to writing songs about murdering my wife. He spit this line every time without any rehearsal. Sometimes he rhymed about himself in the third person. His rapping is hilarious or completely serious, and if you make fun of him, then he will get freaking furious. Cause he can dish it out, but he just can't take.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Oh my God.
Get like a baker who hates cake but always bakes it. Who's this dude looking at me? He looks just like me. He's clocking me, mocking me. I think he wants to bite me. Ow, I tried to hit the man, but he broke my hand and then he ran. Must have been a crazy fan. Oh damn, there